Chapter 1840 I'm going to send him to heaven. Chapter 1840 I'm going to send him to heaven. The first page of the Starbook opened. A ray of starlight sprinkled down. Thinking about it, the Death Star that Long Fei had fused with didn't have too much of a change from before. However, he did not need it to change now. The Death Star was his weapon. Long Fei lifted the sky with his right hand. It looked like he was holding something up. Suddenly, the sky split open, and as if pressed down by some kind of immense force, a violent gale gushed down from the sky, crushing everything in its path. A huge sphere in the sky that was like a falling moon. The scene was extremely shocking. Everyone looked up at the sky. What's that? Another world? What is it? What is the background of this little guy? Seeing Long Fei unleash such a powerful and strange power, they couldn't help but feel shock in their hearts. To be able to summon out an entire plane of existence, what kind of power was that? The space between the brows of the separation of evil spirits tightened as he said coldly, "Long Fei, I never thought that after so many years, your strength has indeed grown quite a bit." However, the evil god laughed disdainfully. "This is the ancient holy battlefield plane, but you are only an ant-like existence, you are too weak. Kill them all." The separation of evil spirits' voice fell. Evil god army pounced towards Long Fei like a mad dog. The corner of Long Fei's mouth twitched, and excitedly laughed. "I'm too weak? But I haven't seen how strong you are either. Explode for me." Long Fei released his right hand, and his body floated in midair. Rumble. 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 Thunder rumbled from all directions. There were endless explosions as the gigantic Death Star smashed down. Without any additional strength, divine force, or star power, or even more so, the power of the universal world, it just smashed down. The huge planet smashed down. Starbook Long Fei had never had the time to cultivate, and cultivation of gobbledygook required more than just time to cultivate, they also needed more time to comprehend. The key thing was, in these 100,000 plane worlds, the Starbook was not able to completely unleash his power. Long Fei was in no hurry to cultivate. Boom. As the Death Star descended, crackling sounds of explosions exploded, as though a large swath of worms had been trampled to death, unceasingly. At the same time, system beeps in Long Fei's mind also exploded crazily. Ding, ding, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Evil God Soldier for obtaining 1000 experience, 100 holy power value, 1 metamorphic energy value. Ding. He did not have much experience, but the amount he received was extremely huge. Less than 10 seconds after the Death Star dropped, a leveling up notification rang in Long Fei's mind. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 8 red star. It instantly leveled up. Boom. The Death Star went berserk, the huge impact turning a large portion of the evil god soldiers into dust. In that instant, the leveling up notification rang out once again. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 9 red star. 1 minute was less than 2 levels. What a great show of strength. Long Fei was ecstatic. He shouted out loudly, "Who else?" The separation of evil spirits floated in the air without any hurry. It looked at Long Fei with a cold smile and said, "It's just a clown. Do you think you can fly after killing these useless soldiers?" "Humph. Long Fei, you're too arrogant." Long Fei laughed. "That's right, why don't you bite me?" Separation of evil spirits' eyes darkened, and said, "You? Now, you don't even have the qualifications for me to do anything." In that instant, with a flip of his right hand, another large group of evil god army rushed out of the darkness. Then let's just kill enough. The great army was like a surging tide that surged towards them. These were all experience points. With Long Fei consecutively rising to 2 levels, the evil god soldier only had 500 experience left. However, stared excitedly at the huge wave of experience and said, "This is for me to break through to the purple gold realm." Titan King. The remnant soul of the Titan King said lightly, "Master, you have already used it once. If you use it again, the Death Star you fused with will disappear and the gobbledygook will also disappear from your sea of consciousness. Stars can't be used like this. How can you use it as a weapon?" Heh! Long Fei was slightly startled. He had not researched how to form gobbledegook, and he did not know what its drawbacks were. Hearing what Tai Tan King said, he was a little confused. Damn! What do we do now? He had used up all the skills he could use, so the only thing left was to use blasting fists. What was he going to do? Long Fei did not lock him up. The separation of evil spirits disdainfully laughed. Long Fei, summon your boulder again, and I will see whether you are strong or my evil god army is strong. What I said earlier was still valid. As long as you kneel down and kowtow to me, and submit to me, I will consider letting you live. I will also bring you out of Devil Island. You have to know that in this world, no one other than me will take you away from the Devil Island. Otherwise, you will forever die in the Devil Island. This is the forbidden land of the gods. You should be clear about this. Kneel. The separation of evil spirits was exceptionally pleased. He just wanted to see Long Fei kneel before him in submission. As soon as his voice faded, the millions of evil god armies also heavily shouted, "Kneel!" A heavy encirclement. Long Fei could not escape now. However, the Long family did not kneel, neither did they kneel to the heavens, never did they kneel for anyone. What did the evil god count for? Buzz, buzz. With one hand holding the fire dragon knife and the other holding the crimson-red burning devil sword, Long Fei stared at the evil god in the air and said, "Kneel before the 8 ancestors." Boom. With a single chop of the saber, a soldier was instantly cut in half. If he didn't submit, it was the same as going back to the family. Long Fei started killing crazily. This left the giants dumbstruck. Brave warrior. He is a true warrior. Then, Long shouted, "Protect the warrior." And then, the harpoon in Long's hands jerked, and his body leaped into the air, heavily landing beside Long Fei. Seeing Long Fei's wild slaughter, he grinned in excitement, laughed and said, "Let's kill together." Ha ha ha. 100 giants joined in the battle, quickly helping Long Fei to get out of it. Long Fei leaped onto Long's shoulder and said, "Do you believe me?" Long said without hesitation, "To never surrender is the will of our giant clan's legacy. You are also a person like us that never surrender, so I believe in you." Long Fei said, "All right. Bring me to the separation of evil spirits. I want him dead." Long watched as the overwhelming number of evil god army surged over. They could not even be killed, and in the end, they would be exhausted to death. Both of his fists clenched tightly. Long nodded, "Okay. Brothers, open up a path for me. I will send him to heaven." Advertisement. Advertisement charge. The battle strength of 100 giants was incomparably shocking. Long Fei would never forget that kind of rampaging, crushing image of the impact in his life. This made him even more determined to bring these guys back. Long shouted and said, "Capture him well." He pushed off with his hind legs. Boom. With a single step, Long Fei traveled 100 meters and stood on top of Long's shoulder to feel the howling wind. He's really strong. Too damn strong. Long Fei was extremely shocked in his heart. At the same time, Long Fei's gaze firmly locked onto the separation of evil spirits that was floating in midair, not the slightest bit afraid. "I really can't think of how your giant clan could survive until now. With your low level of intelligence, you actually believe in a weak human? Ha ha ha. What a bunch of retards." The separation of evil spirits said disdainfully. Even though Long Fei had displayed power that he had never seen before, he did not place Long Fei in his eyes at all. Because, no matter how strong a person of the Red Star realm was, how strong could he be? The realm represented everything. Separation of evil spirits watched as 100 giants opened a path for Long Fei, and said disdainfully, "Brainless retard who doesn't know the limits of the heavens, let me summarize your giant clan today." Buzz. The use of separation of evil spirits. In the darkness. Roar. With a roar, an incomparably ferocious beast rushed out of the darkness. On the back of the beast stood a dark knight in black armor. The spear flashed with a cold light. He swiftly charged towards the 100 giants. A giant immediately shouted, "Dark Knight." The faces of the giants changed slightly. Long Fei looked over, his heart trembling. The auras of these knights were extremely dense, and the key thing was the spears in their hands, as well as the extremely quick impact. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Along the way, all of the evil god soldiers were sent flying. However, their speed hadn't decreased in the slightest. Boom. With a thrust of his spear, the vicious beast collided. A giant was knocked backwards, the black spear piercing through his chest. Dozens of giants were blocked in an instant. As the defensive line collapsed, the evil god soldiers swarmed forward. Hold on. A giant old man swung his battle axe and shouted out. Another wave of giants went up to block it. Can you handle it? The evil god sneered. He flung his sleeves and faintly said, with just you two. Buzz. The door of darkness opened once again, and this time, even more vicious dark knights charged out. The giant's body was huge and powerful, but the impact force of the knights on the plains was much stronger. A single charge had destroyed the giant clan's defense, and if they were to do it again, the giant clan would definitely not be able to withstand it. He wasn't afraid of a duel. However, it was impossible for the knights to stop them from charging towards the giant clan. Long Fei looked in her eyes and anxiously kept it in her heart. Boom. Boom. There were constantly giant clan-s killing to pave the way for a long, and constantly giants falling, entangled by countless evil god soldiers, tightly bound. Quick, quick, quick. Hold on, hold on. It was unknown when they had placed all their hopes on Long Fei. Along was the same. Rumble. Along looked at the giant behind him, and then looked at the separation of evil spirits not far away. The harpoon in his hand shook, and let out a heavy roar. I'll send you to the heavens. And then he stuck the harpoon in, causing one of the dark knights to fall onto the ground. With a leap, he grabbed Long Fei with his palm and threw him fiercely towards the separation of evil spirits, and said, everything is up to you. That lord once said that you can save our giant clan. I hope. You are the person the Lord spoke of. Rumble. Along fell to the ground, with tens of dark knights charging forward. In the air, Long Fei quickly shot out like a cannonball. Seeing giant clan fall one by one, Long Fei felt extremely displeased. They are mine. We can't touch them. Evil god, you king shit. Lousy will definitely blast you to death. Long Fei roared, his anger surging out. He was getting closer and closer to the separation of evil spirits. Separation of evil spirits laughed coldly. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, you are still the same as before, arrogant, conceited, arrogant. Is it useful? What else do you have? You are just a lowly ant in front of me, do you understand? Buzz. Just now, Long Fei could clearly see that a huge boulder had been crushed into powder in an instant. If he were to knock into it himself, he would have turned into powder as well. Could the god's immortal bead resurrect the him that was in powder form? I can't say. Long Fei did not want to die again. His fists moved. Gudong. Gulp. Gudong. His arms were crimson red as they burned. Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. This was the first time he had seen the dragon-shaped mark on his own shoulder. Why do I have a tattoo on my shoulder? Or a tattoo of pigeon blood? It was crimson red, as if it had been tempered with fresh blood. Boom, boom. Energy impact. Long Fei locked onto the separation of evil spirits, and growled out in a deep tone, other than me being arrogant, I also have one more thing, which is to smash you to death. Explode. Rampage blasting fist. One with 10 gods. Open. Long Fei roared, he combined his fists and struck at the separation of evil spirits not far away. At the same time, he hesitated. The strength that Along had thrown was too strong. Long Fei was unable to stop himself. He could only forcefully smash into the boundary halo. Now. Let's see who dies first. The separation of evil spirits looked at the power that exploded out from Long Fei's fist, and looked down on it, and said, You want to kill me with this kind of power? If I hadn't intentionally spared your life in Chaos Realm, do you think you would have lived until today? The evil god's eyes turned cold and the halo boundary dashed forward. Ah! Long Fei roared. It was about to collide. Instantly. The exploded on the separation of evil spirits as the 10 gods merged together. At this moment, The separation of evil spirits trembled slightly, and he felt the power explode on his body. His facial expression changed drastically. F***CKU. Rumble. A massive explosion shook the sky. It was already the wee hours of the morning on the edge of the Devil Hills' cliff. Nai Lin nestled into Yang Nanshan's embrace and said gently, "You will make me do well in tomorrow's competition, right?" Yang Nantian hugged Nai Lin tightly, and said, "Junior sister, I will open a path for you, no one can stop you." Suddenly, a loud sound rang out. Nai Lin looked down the abyss, and said slightly, "Long Fei, you're not still alive, right?" Yang Nantian sneered, and said, "If he's still alive, I'll kill him again." Chapter 1842 Power of Transcendence. Chapter 1842 Power of Transcendence left the world. Boom. With a loud explosion, the separation of evil spirits' body was no longer able to withstand the power of one of the 10 gods. Moreover, he couldn't dodge or defend. After being hit, the separation of evil spirits released a ghastly wail. He himself did not understand, how could a Red Star Realm warrior be able to harm him? But now, he didn't need to understand any of this. "Explode for me." Long Fei was about to place a barrier of light around him, and his life was hanging by a thread. If he were to collide with it, he might also die, and even the god's immortal bead would not be able to save him. Rumble. Half of the separation of evil spirits' body exploded, as the separation of evil spirits deeply roared, "Long Fei, I will definitely not let you go, definitely not." Rumble. Another loud sound rang out, and half of his body exploded again. He could see the bottom of the gash on the top of his head. Long Fei looked at the halo boundary in front of him, his eyes glaring at him. "It's going to crash, it's going to crash." F***CK. The moment they were about to collide, the death of the halo boundary disappeared and turned into a thin layer of light, without any damage. However, when Long Fei bumped into this thin layer of light, one of his profound spirit chi was sucked away. Next, a huge face appeared in the sky and said with a slight smile, "When I was at Chaos Realm, I had thought that you were extraordinary. You really did not disappoint me. Long Fei, follow me. I bestow you the title of Great Holy General. The day when I attack Main Temple, you will control over 10,000 planes, up to and below 1 person. Evil God Real Face." Hanging in the sky, all of the evil god knights and soldiers prostrated themselves in unison. The people from the giant clan were also shocked inwardly. Long Fei said, "I am not normal by following others. How about this, evil god, you follow me. I promise I will overturn Main Temple one by one." Ha ha ha. The shadow of the evil god Real Face laughed wildly, retracting his laughter as he shouted, "Long Fei, don't give me face, I'll give you a way out. As long as you agree, I will bring you out from Devil Island. If you don't agree." Long Fei's tone also changed as she said, "If you don't agree, what do you think?" The evil god Real Face laughed coldly, and said, "If you don't agree, I won't do anything to you. The best punishment for a person like you is to forever be trapped in this small Devil Island, and never be able to take a step out of there. You really want to enter the ancient holy battlefield? You really want to save your family and kill Destiny God, right? You want to change the rules and change your fate, right? If you can't leave the Devil Island, all of this is just a dream and it will never happen. Only I can make you leave." The evil god knew everything that had happened in the Chaos Realm, and also knew what the Destiny God had done to Long Fei. He knew more than anyone what kind of existence the Devil Island was. "You want to get out of here?" It was impossible. The Forsaken God world wasn't that easy to leave. The evil god looked like he was giving out arms as he said, "Without me, you will never be able to leave, understand?" Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. He knew that it would be extremely difficult to rush out of Devil Island, but he never expected it to be so difficult. However, Long Fei's gaze was firm as he said, "There is no one in this world who can stop me, no one who can stop me. You cannot, the Main Temple cannot, even the Sovereign who controls 100,000 planes cannot. If his mother could break free, so could he." The evil god laughed disdainfully, "Then you can just die in this Devil Island, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." The shadow of evil god in the sky slowly disappeared, and the evil god army on the ground also retreated like the tide, transforming into a jet-black ball of chi and disappeared into the plains. Long Fei descended from the sky. The system beeped. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing separation of evil spirits for obtaining 100 million experience, 1 million holy power value, and 1 metamorphic energy value. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to level 4. Current level, Purple Star level, 4, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the upgrade reward. The reward item is Dragon King's Seal. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to level 8 consecutively. Current level, 77, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the Save the Giant Clan mission. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining task reward, level +2, special reward, Giant Clan's Trust, Strength of the Giant, Giant Ack. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level, Purple Star level 6. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward. Do you want to cultivate the power of transcendence? The system kept beeping. Long Fei's eardrums were about to burst. The only pity was nothing from the separation of evil spirits dropped, but Long Fei had already prepared in his heart. Although he was a boss, he was only a doppelganger. Besides experience, he wouldn't drop anything. He wouldn't explode. However, the system had blown up. Level dropped. In a short moment, he consecutively exploded with his level 6 power, and his power was like boiling water as it frantically rolled. Compared to the Red Star realm, Long Fei's power was becoming even more turbulent and powerful. This was the power after leveling up. This feeling was extremely refreshing. Dragon King Seal? Long Fei looked at the dragon seal that was floating in his mind, a true dragon chi revolving around the seal. What is this? Not a holy artifact. It wasn't a cultivation technique. It couldn't be called a special item. Dragon seal? King of true dragons? Long Fei looked at the description given by the system and thought to himself, could this be the seal of the divinity's dragon clan? The dragon-shaped mark on this seal is very fond of my arm. Long Fei thought about the seal on his arm again and immediately kept it among the space ring. He then turned to look at another item that was rewarded by the system. What's that? Item, power of supergod type, power type grade, divine level description. Each kill adds a layer of strength to the attack. The time allotted to kill each person must not be more than 30 seconds. Consecutive beheading of 7 people would give the player supernatural strength, allowing them to deal tons of damage, causing the player's body to go berserk. Description: killing must be done from the weakest to the strongest. Supergod. What's a ton of damage? Long Fei's eyes lit up, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. He was looking forward to it. At this time, Giant Clan Along walked to Long Fei's side and slowly knelt down. At this moment, all 108 warriors kneeled down and kowtowed. Giant Clan never gives in, but they would kneel before the king. Long Fei was the king in their hearts. A king that even the evil god did not put in his eyes. Chapter 1843, 12 Killers. Chapter 1843, 12 Killers Giant Tribe. The war subsided, and from now on the evil god would not come back here anymore. However, although they had won the battle and there were no deaths in Giant Clan, most of them were seriously injured and had no fighting strength left. Long Fei had cultivated an alchemy technique before. During this period of time, he had gathered all kinds of rare spirit grass and quickly refined sets after sets of high-level healing pellets. This pill is too magical. I feel like my injuries have mostly healed. Lord, you really are a god. I was too disrespectful to you before. I apologize for my actions. The highest grade medicine powder controlled their injuries, and after a period of rest, they should be completely healed. After working for a few hours, Long Fei finally stopped and looked up at the sky. At this moment, the sky had already brightened. The events of the previous night had seemed like a dream. Today was the last day of the exchange, so he had to go back. Otherwise, Long Fei did not want to let Yang Nantian have a comfortable life. If he could not stomp the two of them to death on the stage today, then he would be very unhappy. In a large house, Long Fei looked at the 12 corpses of the Hell Reaper S who had lost their consciousness. Is there any hope? These Hell Reaper S were discovered by them and brought back after they were smashed down. It was just that. Even if they fell from such a high place, without any consciousness, they still wouldn't be able to bear it. A giant old man with long white hair held an ancient walking stick, walked around the bodies of the 12 Hell Reaper, then looked at Long Fei and said, "It is fine to save them, but to save them can only mean that we have no fighting power, unless..." Long Fei's heart trembled, and he immediately asked, "Unless what?" He really did not want to miss out on Hell Reaper's explosive fighting strength. Only with these guys here, would he be able to rush up to Devil Hills. The giant old man said, "If you want him to recover his strength and become even stronger, unless to inject the power of a giant, you will also need the blood of a true dragon." The power of a giant. Blood of the true dragon? Long Fei said, "I have the power of a giant, but the blood of a true dragon. He is a member of the Long family. He is also the reincarnation of the Yuan Long, but he was Long Fei. True dragon? He never knew who the true dragon was." The giant old man looked at Long Fei and said, "The human that came here 1,000 years ago had left a prophecy that someone would come to save the giant clan 1,000 years from now. That person is the true dragon." "Me? True dragon?" Long Fei was dumbstruck and muttered in his heart, "Oh my, how could I be a true dragon?" Long Fei said, "Senior, if my blood was not true dragon blood, what would happen to them?" The giant elder said, "They will die." Long Fei was silent for a moment, then said, "All right, we will just die trying to kill them. Even if I am not a true dragon, they will still die just the same. It was my mother's prophecy. He is the son of a true dragon." Long Fei was very clear of his own identity. He was indeed Long Fei, not some Yuan Long, nor was he a true dragon. If he really had to say, he was just an ordinary otaku from the 21st century. Huff! Long Fei let out a light breath, and cut his own palm, causing blood to drip. Drop by drop, they fell into the mouths of the Hell Reaper S. At the same time, he handed over the giant's power that was rewarded by the system to the giant old man. The old man's eyes lit up. What a pure giant's power. You are indeed the king of the prophecy." And then, the old man unleashed his full power. An ancient power exploded in the old man's hand. After Long Fei was done, he stood quietly by the side and watched. Half a minute later, buzz! A cracking sound could be heard, and one of the Hell Reaper's body suddenly sprung. Their 4 limbs twitched, and a strong energy continued to rampage within his body. The joints exploded. It was as if his body had been redeveloped in an instant. Even by standing at the side, Long Fei could clearly feel the rich and boundless energy within their bodies. Next, the other bodies reacted as well. One after another, powerful energies surged through their bodies. This feeling, Long Fei was unable to understand it, but he believed that it must be extremely exciting. It must be great. Rumble. With a loud noise, a power exploded out of Hell Reaper's body and his eyes snapped open. Buzz. He stood up with a height of over 3 meters. Black shiny muscles. Every part of their bodies flashed with a tyrannical aura. They wanted to become more perfect than the previous Hell Reaper. Their body proportions and muscle stripes were all perfect. Long Fei watched everything excitedly. One after another of the Hell Reaper S jumped up, and uniformly stood in front of Long Fei. At this time, Long Fei's psychic contract could clearly sense the minds of all of them, and it could also be said that they no longer had any consciousness, because their consciousness had been completely replaced by Long Fei's. Long Fei slightly said, "From today until now, from this second onwards, you are my 12 assassins. I will make you all the top assassins in the world, assassins that even God stepped on to death." The 12 Hell Reaper S did not move. There was no expression, no reaction. Icy, without any emotions or desires, they would only listen to orders. This was what a super killer was. Long Fei was extremely excited in his heart, 8 King Kong, 12 killers, what's next is the 108 giant generals, ha ha ha, ancient holy battlefield. I must go. Long Fei moved his body and returned the 12 killers into the Shu Mi rings, then said lightly, kill all the demon beast inside. Remember, you cannot let even ants get away with it. Shu Mi rings cannot pretend to be human. However, if he was willing, then it would be a different story. Furthermore, the 12 killers were under Long Fei's control. The 12 killers entered the Shu Mi rings and instantly activated their slaughter mode, slaughtering crazily. Long Fei walked out of the room. Outside the room was a huge plaza, and on the plaza, 107 giant warriors stood there quietly. The moment Long Fei walked out of the room, all of them looked at Long Fei. Giant clan. Every one of them was like a mountain. The giant elder also walked out of the room and stood by the side. He said, "The Lord from 1,000 years ago once said that you would bring us out of here." Long Fei said straightforwardly, "My path is incredibly difficult. My goal is to crush Main Temple and create a new world." The giant elder said, "You are the king and you are a true dragon. You will stand above this world. It is our honor to be able to create a new world with you. Giant clan's honor. On the grand path, our giant clan will do everything we can to help you clear the way." Chapter 1844, The Return of the King. Chapter 1844, The Return of the King. The moment the giant old man finished speaking, whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk all of giant clan kneeled down. The scene was extremely shocking. Long Fei was completely stunned. The giant elder looked at Long Fei and said, "Our giant clan will only swear once in our life. This is the first time. Take us with you." The 100 giants shouted at the same time, "Take us away." Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock. With 108 giants, their fighting strength was. There was nothing to boast about. Immediately, Long Fei said heavily, "All right, then accompany me on my journey to kill him." The idea moved. The Shu Mi rings kept all of them inside. Afterwards, Lin Fei looked up to the sky and grinned excitedly. "Yang Nantian, are you ready?" "I'm coming." A Hell Reaper was summoned and stood quietly beside Long Fei. "Send me up. Devil Hills. God Rare Sect. Sovereign, I don't know who took away those 3 corpses." A disciple reported. Jin Chan waved his hand and said, "If they're taken, then so be it. Even if they're saved, they're only 3 pieces of trash. Today is my big day. I will definitely become a new king and enter the Devil Temple. Because of me, the God Rare Sect will once again reach the peak, ha ha ha." Jin Chan laughed out loud in excitement. He was wearing a gorgeous golden robe. He was in high spirits. The corner of Jin Chan's mouth revealed a smile, and said, "Master, just wait until I return, ha ha ha." At this time, another disciple walked in and said, "Sect Master, I received news last night that loud noises were constantly heard from the abyss below Devil Hills. There are rumors that Long Fei is not dead yet. Could he be?" Jin Chan's gaze retracted, and said, "So what if he doesn't die? If he's not dead, can he still turn the sky upside down? A Long Fei? Humph." Jin Chan coldly snorted, and said, "He's just a trash whose talent has been crippled. Dog meat will never be able to make it. Furthermore, it's the meat of a dead dog, ha ha ha. Let's go. Follow me to the arena." Jin Chan walked out with a few junior brothers following closely behind him. Today was the last day of the exchange, and it was also the most exciting day. Today was the martial arts competition, the true competition. The first 2 days were merely an exchange of auxiliary method, alchemy. Refining was indeed important, but this world still determined strength and fists, and Nai Lin are the only 2 left in 10 disciples. This year's new king will definitely be one of them. Who will be the new king? Of course, it's definitely Yang Nantian. I think so too. Nai Lin is a woman after all. Her cultivation is not as good as Yang Nantian's. You can't say, what if Yang Nantian deliberately loses to Nai Lin? It is his own woman anyways. To be able to obtain such a beautiful Nai Lin, I am willing to give up my new king. Damn, that's what you think because you're weak. There are countless inheritances power in the Devil Temple. and any one of them can allow you to advance by leaps and bounds. Not to mention your own woman, even your biological father wouldn't let you go. If Long Fei is still talking, then this exchange will be a little interesting. What a pity, what a pity. Fighting with someone else, and even going against the Hell Reaper, isn't that equivalent to seeking death? That's right, that Long Fei is really impressive. He actually managed to suppress 8 Hell Reapers. I have to admit that he is indeed outstanding. Have you heard? Last night, there were continuous loud explosions coming from the depths of the demon abyss. Some people said that Long Fei is not dead yet. I heard that too. So what if he's not dead? Could he still come back? Even if he doesn't die, he can't change anything. He's still not Yang Nanshan's match, and even if he comes back, he will only be stepped on once more by Yang Nantian. Countless discussions were going on in the stands. It basically revolved around Yang Nantian, Nai Lin, and Long Fei. Not long later, when the people of 10 sects took their positions, the surrounding area became even more lively. Today's match would determine the fate of many people. The fate of many sects and sects, no one wanted to lose. Even the sects that had lost their 10 disciples were competing in secret. At this time, Yang Nantian is here. Look, he's holding Nai Lin's hand. Wow. It's even a perfect match. This is too enviable. Yang Nantian held Nai Lin's hand and walked out slowly with a happy smile on his face. Nai Lin was the same. She looked like a blissful little girl, with a blush on her face, making her look even more beautiful, making others unable to forget her. Yang Nantian walked forward and slightly pressed down with his hands. The audience fell silent. Yang Nantian looked at Nai Lin with eyes filled with love, and said, "After today's exchange, no matter who wins or loses, I will still take Nai Lin as my wife. Junior sister Nai, are you willing to marry me?" The entire audience was in an uproar. This was a public proposal. Although there were rumors that Nai Lin had already agreed to it yesterday, it was all just a rumor. How enviable. Hurry up and accept it. Promise him, promise him. Many people started talking loudly. Nai Lin looked at Yang Nantian with a serious face as well. Yang Nantian laughed and said, "Lina, I will always love you." Nai Lin lowered her head, her blush becoming thicker, and said incomparably bashfully, "I will also forever love you, brother Tian." My heart broke just like that. Yang Nantian, I love you too. Sigh. So my goddess is going to be married. Why is that? A wave of heartache began to spread among the youths. However, 2 of the sects were overjoyed. The sect Yang Nantian was in, and also the Shenyang sect he was in. It could be said, now that the Rookie King was in their hands, they would have to see who was given the spot. A strong alliance. The 8 great sects were completely in despair. Even the mighty and domineering Xiao Yarrow Palace was defeated like a rooster, devoid of energy. But, at this moment, a person slowly walked over from the cliff. He had a faint smile on his face as he said, "Loving and loving, dying quickly. I want to verify this sentence with you." The instant he walked out of the crowd, the old monk's eyes flashed. "The king will descend once again. The king will descend once again." Prophecy. The prophecy from 1,000 years ago is about to come true. Next. The big door of the Devil Temple opened halfway. Ba Wang Hua, Wang Tai, LV Shuangchuan walked out from inside and slowly stood behind Long Fei. Everyone was dumbfounded. Chapter 1845, One Slap Kill Jin Chan. Chapter 1845, One Slap Kill Jin Chan. Long Fei. He's back. He's not dead. My God, how is this possible? What just happened? Did my eyes go blurry? The Devil Temple actually opened half of the gate, and the 3 people that were injured by the Hell Reaper last night actually walked out from inside. Long Fei's appearance and the appearance of the 3 from Ba Wang Hua caused an uproar within the audience. At the same time, after snatching away the limelight from Yang Nanshan's proposal, there was no one left to worry about Yang Nantian and Nai Lin's proposal. Long Fei, how did you survive? Long Fei, where are the Hell Reapers? Did you kill them all? Long Fei, what exactly is inside the demon abyss? Is there really an endless number of demons? Long Fei, How did you manage to climb up? Long Fei, why were your 3 friends accepted by the Devil Temple? Last night, the old monk was there to help you. Why would he help you? Many people rushed down and surrounded Long Fei. For Long Fei to appear was a complete miracle. A person must be curious about miracles. He suddenly became the center of this exchange. This made Yang Nantian feel extremely unhappy, and Nai Lin's expression became extremely unsightly. They were originally the main characters, but the moment Long Fei appeared, they immediately turned into running dragons. Long Fei's appearance directly gave them a slap on the face. Nai Lin's eyes were extremely cold. Yang Nantian slightly said, "Don't worry, I will definitely kill him again. Little sister Lin, I will do everything I can to let you enter the Devil Temple." Yang Nantian swore heavily. Amongst the crowd, Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Everything will be displayed in the competition arena, and all of you will see what you want to see." Long Fei walked into the stadium, looked at the lonely Yang Nantian and Nai Lin on the stage, and laughed indifferently. "You're very surprised, right?" Yang Nantian sneered and said, "So what if I'm back? Do you want to overturn the heavens?" Nai Lin revealed a surprised look and said, "Long Fei, it's really great that you're fine. Okay. I'm not dead. You should be the most disappointed, right? Junior sister Nai Lin." Long Fei looked at Nai Lin and said, "The more beautiful a woman is, the more vicious they will be. I didn't believe them in the past, but now I believe them." Nai Lin's eyes darkened, revealing a look of deep sorrow. "Long Fei, I know I've hurt you, but emotional matters can only be settled if you're willing to help me. I really don't like you, and we're destined to not be together. I've already told you this when you knelt in front of me." As soon as he finished, the scene was in an uproar. Long Fei kneeled before Nai Lin. It can't be. Is this Long Fei going to confess and kneel down to stay? Isn't it too shameless to be rejected like this? Shameless. Nai Lin's eyes were full of playfulness and thought in his heart, "So what if I'm back? I can still make you smelly for 10,000 years. Who would believe a trash whose talent has been crippled?" Ha ha ha. Yang Nantian gently pulled Nai Lin into his embrace and said, "Brat, if I were you, I wouldn't have come back even if I were alive. Why would I have come back to be humiliated again? However, just based on what you said just now, it's not as simple as being humiliated. I will trample you to death in the arena." The chi on Yang Nantian's body surged violently. Long Fei laughed. Humans were shameless, and they were unrivaled in the world. The Bawang Hua was so angry that he wanted to rush forward, but he was stopped by Long Fei. "Brother Fei, isn't it too despicable for this woman to humiliate you like this? I used to think she was human, but now she's just a crazy bitch, worse than a bitch." Even the usually quiet Wang Tai was enraged. Long Fei said, "There's no need to rush, it's just a pair of idiots and a man. Today, I have plenty of time to slowly play with them to death." Anger was swelling in his heart. He felt displeased. Now that his cultivation had gone up to hit one, even if it wasn't the 2 of them, he would be able to seriously injure them, but Long Fei did not do so. He had to play slowly. Play them to death. Therefore, Long Fei was not in a rush. Powerhouse was fearless. A few humiliating words. Long Fei wanted him to pay the price of several tons per ton. Then, Long Fei walked back to the position of the God Rare sect. Jin Chan coldly snorted and said, "Long Fei, you trash, your God Rare sect's face has been completely thrown away by you." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei's footsteps moved and instantly landed in front of Jin Chan. The 2 were not even half a meter apart, and Long Fei raised his right hand. He opened up his palm and slapped down. Jin Chan's pupils suddenly shrank. At this moment, he basically did not have any time to react. Pa! With an explosive sound, his head circled around his neck continuously. The gash on top of his head also disappeared in an instant. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Jin Chan for obtaining 5,000 experience, 500 holy power value, and 1 energy values. Congratulations, player. 1 slap, 1 kill. Moreover, after slapping the slap down, Long Fei didn't even look at Jin Chan, and said coldly, "I said it before, if you're King long-winded, this old man will take your life. As soon as his words fell, he kicked the dead Jin Chan off his seat and sat down on his butt. He glared coldly at the few junior brothers of Jin Chan around him and said, "Drag him down and feed him to the dogs." A disciple shouted, "Long Fei, how dare you?" Bam! Long Fei moved again, and slapped him again. "That's right, I have a lot of guts. Did you only King know it now? Drag the two of them down and feed them to the dogs." 2 moves in a row. He did not use any martial skills. Instead, he just swatted down with his palms. 10 disciples, who had been training for 10 years, killed 2 people in an instant. The 2 elders were stunned. The remaining disciples also quickly reacted, all of them lowering their heads, and dragged Jin Chan and the other 2 away. In the past, he would need to use the blasting fist to kill people, but now, a person like Jin Chan did not even need to use any techniques. "From now on, I am the leader." "Understood." Long Fei said coldly, "I don't care how you complain when you go back, but if anyone doesn't listen to me now, they will die." With that, Long Fei looked at the stage. At this time, the presided elders walked forward and said, "Today is 10 sex exchanges last day, and also the day of martial arts exchange. The martial arts exchange is divided into 2 parts, one is a single-man competition, and the other is a team competition. The martial arts battle exchange will begin now." Chapter 1846, Bawang Hua Out of Control. Chapter 1846, Bawang Hua Out of Control. The first part is a team battle. Please send out your teams from the big sects. 5-man team. In a team battle, 5 people had to be formed. Because this competition was not only about combat strength, but also a sense of tacit understanding. Long Fei looked at the 3 Bawang Hua's and asked, "Do you want to go up?" Wang Tai took the lead and said, "Yes." LV Shuangchuan said, "Brother Fei, although my cultivation is not very high, but I want to go as well. To say that I'm not afraid of your jokes is also my dream, hey." LV Shuangchuan scratched his head and laughed. "I didn't dare to think about it before. But now." He had learned a lot during his one night in Devil Temple. Bawang Hua replied, "I want." Long Fei slightly smiled and said, "Who else wants to go up? By the way, let me remind you that you might die in the arena." The remaining 4 disciples immediately shrank back, not daring to step forward. It was not because they were afraid, but because they hated Long Fei. A 5-man team battle, if there were fewer people, their fighting strength would be greatly reduced. Long Fei laughed, "It seems that none of you want to fight." An elder said, "The God Rare sect needs you. For the sake of the God Rare sect, you must fight." One of the disciples immediately said, "I don't want to die in there. Long Fei has offended so many people, their team will definitely go all out to kill him, I don't want to be cannon fodder." The elder cried out, "You." Long Fei laughed, "Don't worry. I've never liked making things difficult." Long Fei asked, "Can the 3 of you do it?" Long Fei did not want to make a move. He knew that Yang Nantian and Nai Lin would not appear either. They would never appear in such a team battle and would focus all their attention on individual battles. This was because the individual competition had the best points. As long as they won the match, they could become the new king. If they didn't come out, Long Fei naturally wouldn't want to either. Wang Tai said, "It was impossible before, but now." "No problem." Long Fei said, "All right, then the 3 of you go, the others aren't important, the most important thing is to protect your lives." Bawang Hua and the other 2 immediately attracted everyone's attention as they walked towards the stage. Why only the God Rare sect sent 3 people out? Does no one want to fight? Why is Long Fei not going to fight yourself? 3 teams are just looking to die. I really don't know what they're thinking. Sigh. I still had some expectations for the God Rare sect, but now it seems that they are really just a bunch of crippled sects, even their brains are crippled. Many of the people nearby began to mock him. Yang Nantian also sneered, and said, "Long Fei, after killing your sect leader, you can't even send people out? You want to fight with me over something like this? You overestimate yourself, ha ha ha." Nai Lin also let out a disdainful sneer, senior brother of the Southern Sky region. They are the God Rare sect, the crippled sects. Aren't they the same type of team as the disabled sects? That's true. Crippled sect, crippled team. The three of you can't really be called crippled team, right? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. When their voices resounded throughout the entire arena, many people in the surrounding area burst into laughter. Ba Wang Hua was furious. Wang Tai frowned, his fists clenched tightly. LV Shuangchuan laughed sinisterly. There was no way the three teams could win. The cultivation levels of the three of them were very weak. What could they do even if they stayed in Devil Temple for the whole night? Nothing can change. Of course. No one knew what they experienced last night. The top 10 teams began appearing one after another. Aside from the three God Rare sects who were substitutes, the other sects were all elites among elites. Every disciple was at least in the Blue Star realm. If one were to compare cultivation base, he could completely destroy God Rare sect. An elder said, Long Fei, the three-man team is impossible to win. Rather than letting them die, it's better to just give up. Long Fei said, there is nothing that is impossible in this world. Buzz. With a gong, the presided elders released a sound. The team exchange begins now. A free-for-all. Whoever wins in the arena will be the victor. As soon as he finished speaking, all of the teams in the arena shuddered. But no one moved. The 9 squads all looked at Ba Wang Hua's team of 3, and the Shenyang sect disciples laughed. The weak can be eliminated first. Are you guys jumping off yourself? Or do you want us to fight and climb down? All the members of the 9 battle teams revealed cold smiles as they looked at Ba Wang Hua and the other 2 with contempt. 9 against 1? If not for the fact that God Rare sect is crippled, he would probably be crippled by now. There's no hope. What's the use of a 3-man team? Long Fei's commanding ability is too weak. Isn't this too unfair? Fair? Mph, what is fair in this world? The weak must be bullied by the powerhouse. This is reality. This is the way of kings. 9 teams, 45 elite disciples against 3 people. However, Wang Tai laughed excitedly. With a slight movement, all of the bones in his body began to emit popping sounds. Looking at the disciple who was speaking to the Shenyang sect, he said, you will be the first one to climb down. As soon as he finished. Boom. Wang Tai suddenly rushed forward, his fists like cannons, his legs taking a strange stance, as though lightning was striking down with his fists. Boom. After hitting his abdomen, the Shenyang sect disciple immediately kneeled onto the ground, his hands covering his abdomen as black blood spewed out of his mouth, and he rolled on the ground in pain. Along with Wang Tai's explosive move, the battle on the stage continued. Ba Wang Hua's fists were trembling, the armor on her body made Long Fei seem like she wanted to fight, but her defense was heaven-defying. She did not care about defense at all. For someone like her who was in close combat, the more people there were, the more powerful her battle prowess would be. LV Shuangchuan was the most insidious. He's just like a loach in the mud, fighting everywhere, unable to catch him at all, and he can accurately hit your weakness. Boom. 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 The people on the stage were continuously sent flying, and all of them were heavily injured. The Shenyang sect disciples who had the strongest clamor all shouted out loudly on the stage, as if they were pigs being butchered. Ba Wang Hua did not even bother to throw them out of the stage, as he continued to crush them ruthlessly on the stage. 3 minutes. The 10 disciples of the Anyang Nantian were kneeling on the stage like dead dogs. He trembled all over. The Ba Wang Hua grabbed onto the clothes of one of the Shenyang sect disciples and floated up. His eyes stared straight at Nai Lin, and he said, "Who do you think you are? You don't even have the qualifications to be liked by Long Fei." Bam! He slammed down on the stage. He then raised a disciple up to the air and stared at Nai Lin. "If Long Fei had not saved you a few times, would you still be alive today? One must know how to repay favors." Bam! He smashed the stage again. Ba Wang Hua brought up another disciple of his Shenyang sect, and said, "You shameless woman, don't run when we fight alone, I will fight you alone. You think you're worthy of humiliating my man?" Bam! Every single time was like a slap on Nai Lin's face, and it was extremely painful. The anger in Nai Lin's heart surged, and his murderous intent intensified. Chapter 1847, The Beginning of Personal Warfare. Chapter 1847, The Beginning of Personal Warfare. Another disciple of the Xianyang sect threw himself down the stage fiercely, as if he had gone crazy. Long Fei was her man, she wouldn't allow anyone to humiliate him. So what if it was the 10 disciples' Nai Lin? So what if her beauty surpassed her? Humiliating Long Fei was not okay. One by one, the disciples of Xianyang sect were scared off the stage. The 45 disciples had all been beaten up by the 3 people. If they did not see it with their own eyes, they would not believe it at all. What happened in one night? Even Long Fei couldn't imagine it. The strength of the 3 could be said to have undergone an earth-shattering change. Everyone around the stands had a stupefied expression on their faces. Crippled team? I think the other 9 major sects are the crippled teams. After getting beaten up by the 3 of them, who would believe it if they didn't see it with their own eyes? The Devil Temple, Supreme Inheritance. The legends are true, they only stayed one night and they already made such earth-shattering changes. It can be seen that there are too many powerful things in the Devil Temple. If I can get in. The 3 of them were very powerful. However, the Devil Temple that the disciples of the 10 sects cared even more about was precisely because the 3 of them had entered the Devil Temple before. That was why they became so powerful. Nai Lin's face was ashen, and her gaze landed on Yang Nantian. She looked at Yang Nantian's similarly burning gaze and started to worry in her heart. She didn't trust anyone, including Yang Nantian. Yang Nantian was just a chess piece for her as she entered the Devil Temple. After she enters the Devil Temple to obtain the Supreme Inheritance, she would become the 2nd flying goddess. She was about to leave the incomparably ugly Devil Island. She wanted to enter the ancient holy battlefield to obtain something even more powerful and a more noble identity. Deity. A few minutes later, only Bawang Hua and the other 2 remained on the stage. Presided elders walked forward and said, God Rare Sect wins. Congratulations God Rare Sect. Rest for half an hour, then we will engage in individual battles. As long as the disciples' report for the competition are available, all sects will be able to prepare for it. We won. Ha ha ha. LV Shuangchuan excitedly jumped up and said, I never thought that I would be able to stand on this stage and win, ha ha ha. Wang Tai also smiled simply. Bawang Hua was still sulking, her target was Nai Lin. Walking back to the God Rare sect, Long Fei said, your performance is not bad. The Bawang Hua said straightforwardly, if you want me to go out for personal matches, I want to fight Nai Lin one-on-one. He was clear in his heart that the current strength of the Bawang Hua was not Nai Lin's match. He said with a smile, in the team competition, you have consumed most of your physical strength, so in the next match, none of you should come up. I alone will be enough. He did not want Bawang Hua to be harmed in the slightest. Last night, when he was heavily injured by Hell Reaper, Long Fei was extremely vexed. Bawang Hua immediately said, I'm not tired at all. Long Fei, give me a chance, I definitely want to make Nai Lin look good. I don't care about others, but since she humiliated you, stepping on your honor, I don't like it. She had once said that the more women liked Long Fei, the happier she would be. She had misjudged Nai Lin and regretted letting go of her heart. Wang Tai faintly said, I'll go up as well. Since everyone is going on stage, how can I be left out? LV Shuangchuan also said with a chuckle. The 3 of them actually wanted to help Long Fei. Team battles were just a small warm-up. All sects would place their treasures above their own personal battles. It would definitely be the same for individual battles. If Long Fei were to go alone, he would have to face the encirclement and annihilation of the 9 major sects. They wanted to shoulder some of the burden for Long Fei. Long Fei understood in his heart, and it was precisely because of this that he didn't let them go on stage. He said, I'm currently the leader, and also your boss. This kind of battle, I alone am enough. Long Fei didn't know what the 3 of them from Bawang Hua experienced in one night, but neither did they know how much Long Fei experienced in one night. He said that he would slowly play Yang Nantian to death, and that he would definitely do it. He wanted to let Yang Nantian, Nai Lin, descend into endless despair. Bawang Hua stomped his feet in anger and turned his gaze. Long Fei walked forward, his fingertips grabbing onto Bawang Hua's lower jaw, and directly kissed. Hua Lala. The surroundings went into an uproar. Quick, look. Wow, a public kiss. Wow, how romantic. This. If you can't get Nai Lin, then just hang out with your own senior sister. Isn't this too funny? Ha ha ha. Some people mocked him, while others envied him. However, live not for others, but for yourself. Towards the voice outside, Long Fei acted as if he did not hear it, and gave it a deep kiss. Looking at Bawang Hua's blushing face, he said gently, "Be good, be good." One kiss. Bawang Hua's bones had become weak. His body turned soft. He turned from a strong man to a soft girl in an instant, revealing the happiness of a young woman. He nodded his head lightly and said, "Yes, I'll listen to you." Nai Lin looked at them, and revealed a cold smile. At this moment, a disciple walked over to her side and whispered, "Senior sister, everything is ready." A light flashed in Nai Lin's eyes, and he asked, "Are all of them here?" That disciple said, "Everyone is coming. No matter what the result is this time, you will enter the Devil Temple." Nai Lin laughed and said, "All right. Long Fei, I was wary of you in the past, but now." Nai Lin looked at the Long Fei in the distance. She had made all the preparations even before she came to the fair. She knew that her strongest opponent was not Yang Nantian, but Long Fei, who had the ability to kill with a single punch. As long as she could release that punch, she would not be able to withstand it. Every time Long Fei released his blasting fist in the Ghost City, she saw it very clearly and had been researching it ever since. As long as he used this punch, she would not be afraid of him. Heh heh. Nai Lin laughed sinisterly. This world is so cruel. When you think you have everything, suddenly becoming devoid of anything, isn't that a wonderful feeling? Ha ha ha. Long Fei, let's wait and see. After half an hour of rest, each sect was ready to take action and make all their preparations. The presided elders walked out and said loudly, "The last match of the 10 sects exchange will decide who will be this year's Rookie King, and that's who will decide who will be able to enter the Devil Temple. There are no rules in this competition. You can use all of your strength, war beasts, spirit beasts, formations. As long as it's something that belongs to you, you can use it all. Show me your strongest strengths. Now, I announce the start of the individual battle." Chapter 1848, All of You Are Trash. Chapter 1848, All of You Are Trash. A personal battle wasn't a random selection of opponents, but in the form of a competition. Whoever wins will receive more points. Other than that, whoever stood at the end would receive extra points. In the end, they used their points to determine who the new King Flower would go to. Currently, Yang Nantian had the highest score, an existence that was basically unshakable. As long as he did not lose too many matches in his individual battle, there was no doubt that he would be the new king. Other than them, there was also Nai Lin. Long Fei had only participated in 3 matches, and with 1 forfeit, his overall ranking was at 7th place. Basic base position. The host said slightly, "Who will be the first arena master?" None of the disciples of the 10 sects were the first to come out. The first one would only be cannon fodder, and with each round of bombardment, it was impossible to resist a few rounds. Yang Nantian looked at Long Fei and asked, "Long Fei, can your God Rare sect send more people?" Last year, he was at the bottom. This year should be about the same, right? Is there no one else in the God Rare sect? Nai Lin also smiled slightly and said, "Senior brother of the Southern Sky region, don't say that. Even if God Rare sect is a crippled sect, don't say it out loud." That's true. The crippled sects are all handicapped people. It doesn't matter whether they come out or not. They're still at the bottom. Yang Nantian laughed coldly. "Since you are a crippled sect, you can either give up or go on stage to die. Since all of you are just playing around and have gone through the motions, from today onwards, your God Rare sect will no longer have the position of God Rare sect." Yang Nantian said loudly. Quite a few people around the stands started to mock him. Bawang Hua had a bad temper and said, "Let me go." Wang Tai also said, "I'll go." Even if they were dissatisfied with the current God Rare sect, but he was still their sect, so they could be considered to be half family. How could they allow others to humiliate them? Long Fei smiled slightly, and said, "Are you trying to goad me? Ha ha ha. I can't accept such provocation. You want me to become the arena master? Alright, since that's the case, then you won't have any chance." The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back. He took a step forward. Shua. The distance from his position to the arena was 100 meters, yet he had already arrived in an instant and landed in the arena. It was as fast as lightning. Yang Nantian slightly tightened his gaze, and thought in his heart, what a fast speed. His cultivation. Yang Nantian's cultivation was only at the first stage of the Purple Star Realm. He was the disciple with the highest cultivation in the exchange, but now, he could not see what realm Long Fei was in. In one night's time, even if you train like a fly, you won't be able to improve much. Yang Nantian coldly snorted. Training talent was very important. However, time was also very important. No one could fly away with just a single thought. How much of a difference could a single night bring? At most, he would only be able to improve a little. Then again, the individual combat wasn't only a matter of competing in terms of individual strength. What was important was the strength of the war beasts and the spirit beasts. Long Fei, a disciple of the God Rare sect in his name, and a trash whose talent had been crippled, what kind of war beast could he have? What kind of spirit beast could he have? The God Rare sect would never give him these resources. So, after analyzing it, Long Fei wanted to win. It was just a fantasy story. Long Fei landed and said faintly, "Let the challenge begin. My palm is already unable to endure the thirst." How arrogant. Brat, watch how I'll take care of you. As soon as he finished, a disciple of 7-star sect who was dressed in a purple robe was wielding a big blade. Before he finished speaking, his figure had already landed on the stage, and in that moment, he slashed down with his blade. At the same time, a roar sounded in the air and a savage war beast pounced like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey. Crash. Oh no, Long Fei is going to die. A purple-robed disciple of the 7-star sect with a cultivation at the middle stage of the Red Star realm. This Long Fei was only at the Blue Star realm yesterday. He will definitely be killed this time. This guy is not simple, his beast is not simple either. Long Fei did not lose, he died. Seems like 7-star sect is going to win the first round. The Mountain Splitter Saber was vicious and ruthless. He directly rushed in front and sealed all of Long Fei's routes of entry. The beast on the other side, which was already prepared, pounced at Long Fei, not giving him any chance to react at all. He wanted to kill Long Fei with a single move. Long Fei stood in his original position without moving, as if he had not reacted. The disciples of the 7-star sect all laughed complacently. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, see if you still dare to be arrogant, go and die. Boom. Roar. Blade Chi rumbled, and the warbeast's roars came crashing down at the same time. However, with the slash of the great sword, Long Fei's body moved slightly to the side, the blade edge struck down half a centimeter away from his body, the 7-star sect disciple's blade cut through the air, and his body landed right in front of Long Fei. Die. Long Fei spat out a single word coldly, raised his right hand, and ruthlessly slapped him across the face. Pa. It was incomparably loud. His head immediately started spinning rapidly around his neck. His neck was twisted into the shape of a fried dough twist. Fresh blood crazily spurted out from his mouth. Sweeping his palm out, Long Fei's gaze turned, his eyes flashed with a sharp light, and he bellowed, "Kneel, Buzz." His aura was like that of a god. Long Fei's eyes were as vicious as a beast's. The beast quickly curled up into a ball like a mouse seeing a cat, and Long Fei lifted his right leg to cover it. Boom. He heavily pressed down on the warbeast's head. The warbeast's head crashed into the arena, and its entire head cracked open. Blood sprayed all over the ground. 2 notifications sounded in his mind. Ding, ding, did not even bother to take a second look when a few trash items were dropped. His gaze swept across them before he smiled and said, "Next." The entire audience was in an uproar. 1 hit 1 kill, too strong. What a fast speed. I didn't even see it clearly. How did he do it? So sharp. His cultivation. He didn't seem to be in the Blue Star realm. Who knew what realm he was in now? Could it be that he has been hiding himself all along? Discussions broke out. Long Fei shouted again, "Next, hurry up. I'll do it." Another disciple flew out, his sword shooting towards Long Fei. However, without waiting for him to fall, Long Fei slapped his face again in midair, and with a pa sound, that disciple ruthlessly smashed himself onto the ground, his entire body turning into a puddle of flesh. Instant kill. Long Fei landed back on the stage and said, "Next. Rub." His English is already flying high. Long Fei laughed. "Next. Quick, quick, quick. This is too arrogant. Kid, take this palm of mine." A disciple rushed down. Before Long Fei could react, two beasts on his left and right rushed out at the same time. Boom, boom, boom. With three muffled sounds, three corpses flew out. Long Fei clapped his hands and laughed coldly, "Trash that can't even withstand a single blow." The people from the 9 major sects stood up immediately and shouted, "Long Fei, don't be too arrogant." Long Fei said arrogantly, "I wanted to say, everyone here is trash." Chapter 1849, Foolish. Chapter 1849, Foolish. Everyone here is trash. Long Fei was extremely arrogant. Instantly angering the masses, the disciples of 9 major sects were filled with righteous indignation and fury. Long Fei grinned coldly, and said, "You don't accept it. If you refuse to accept this, then all of you can come at me together." As soon as he finished, the entire audience suddenly quietened down, and everyone looked at Long Fei. Isn't this too arrogant? To challenge the entire 9 major sects alone? Was his brain filled with water? Fever? Ba Wanghua's gaze tensed up. What is he trying to do? Wang Tai shook his head and said, "I don't know." LV Shuangchuan laughed. "What are you doing? That is, you trampled the 9 major sects to death by yourself. You are that arrogant. Brother Fei is too mighty, ha ha ha." The eyes of the 2 clan elders of the God Rare sect shook, and they said, "Is he crazy? This is the 9 major sects after all." 9 major sects had hundreds of disciples. The fact that he would have to exhaust himself to death in a battle of attrition while challenging the 9 major sects was something that had never happened before in the history of the Devil Island. How crazy was Long Fei? "Aren't you being too arrogant?" Nai Lin laughed coldly, and said in a low voice, "I always thought you were very smart. I didn't expect you to also be a crazy braggart. It seems like your body is not crippled, but your brain is." That's right, if he isn't brain damaged, why would he make a move on Hell Reaper? And then Nai Lin said, "Since he said it like that, then if he doesn't help us then we are too stingy." Yang Nanshan's finger gently moved. "Attack together. Brat, your end is here. You ignorant fool, you dare to challenge the 9 major sects. You're courting death. Kill him." Suddenly, dozens of disciples flew down like streams of light. They summoned their war beasts at the same time, and everyone in and out of the arena was filled with people. There was no way out. However, Yang Nantian and Nai Lin did not come out. They were waiting. Furthermore, they were not anxious at all. Yang Nantian still had 100% confidence in being able to deal with a single Long Fei. The stronger Long Fei displayed, the stronger he would be when he would die. Nai Lin had another plan in mind. She put it all in a play. She believed she would be the final winner. On the stage, Long Fei's eyes were all around. "Just you trash? Is there no one else in 9 major sects? I just said that everyone here is trash, not only the participating disciples, but the elders of your 9 major sects are also trash." Cluck, cluck, cluck. Not only to challenge the participating disciples, but also to stomp over 9 major sect. All the elders of the 9 major sects had ugly expressions on their faces. Rumble. With that said, all of the disciples rushed towards Long Fei. Long Fei's brows twitched, he locked onto one of the disciples with the lowest cultivation, and suddenly made his move. Boom. A punch to the head. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing. Ding. Power of transcendence superimposed layer upon layer. Then Long Fei killed the second person and added the power of transcendence to the second layer. third floor, fourth floor, the fifth floor, sixth, seventh. He had killed 7 people in a row. The system rang out, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the power of transcendence for 1 minute. The power of the super god exploded inside Long Fei's body. Combined with the power of the 6th stage of the purple star, the chi on Long Fei's body started to ignite, and he suddenly took a step forward. Rumble ~~ golden light radiated in all directions. The nearby people's internal organs were instantly shaken into a puddle of meat paste. Hualala. 4 or 5 people instantly fell to the ground, dead. Everyone's face changed, they could not understand what power Long Fei was releasing, and continued to rush up, causing the entire stage to be filled with people. How boring. Not interesting at all. Long Fei's face was expressionless as he stepped on the ground. His body immediately flew into the air and he said coldly, "All of you, die." His body fell down. As the power from his body roared and moved, the flames of chi beneath Long Fei's feet seemed like it was going to burn in half a month's time. His body was like a huge mountain, with tons and tons of power exploding outwards. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sound of thunder echoed in all directions, and his eardrums were about to burst. The entire Devil Hills was trembling and the stage even cracked. The surrounding 9 major sects' disciples were all sent flying one by one. Boom, boom, boom. Their corpses flew around like rubble. The entire battlefield was crushed by Long Fei. Oxhead pulled the wind with lightning, killing 100 people in one move, causing his experience points to soar. Long Fei laughed. "I'm not wrong, all of you are all trash. Is there anyone else who is unconvinced?" As soon as he finished, the entire audience was shocked, especially those who had spent money to watch the show. Their faces were full of shock. Holy sh**, the money I spent this year is worth it. This kid is really going to ascend to the heavens. No one can stop me. Ha ha ha. Wow. Wow 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 wow. Wow 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 wow. Long Fei, you are awesome. Too awesome. With just one move, he had basically killed all of the 9 major sects' participating disciples. Less than 10 people. Yang Nanshan's face became ugly. Nai Lin's expression was the same. He thought that Long Fei would definitely use the blasting fist in the face of so many people attacking him, but the cultivation level that Long Fei had displayed completely surpassed her. At this moment, a tinge of regret appeared in Nai Lin's heart. If he had agreed to Long Fei's request to capture the Hell Reaper with him, then this would not have been the case. Furthermore, with her charm, she would definitely be able to make Long Fei concede obediently and give the position of the Rookie King to her. However, his gaze turned sinister as he said, "Long Fei, just now, you said that you want to challenge the 9 major sects, including the elders?" Long Fei said, "Nai Lin, you want your Xianyang sect's elders to die, right? Then let them come. I'll say it again. If anyone from the 9 major sects wants to challenge me, come at me." But Long Fei laughed slyly, looked at the presided elders who was still in a daze and said, "Elder, my current points should be more than enough to become a new king, right?" Heh. The host was stunned and could not react in time. The entire audience was in an uproar. Yang Nanshan's face changed even more. Long Fei had defeated over 100 disciples in a row, so his current points were already far, far off from Yang Nanshan's by more than 10 streets. The presided elders said slightly, "According to the rules of the exchange hall, your current points can indeed already become this year's Rookie King." Hearing presided elders' words, Yang Nantian panicked. Nai Lin's face also turned anxious. If that was the case, then Laozi will not fight anymore. I'll go to Devil Temple to play. Long Fei grinned, he was very sinister. "I won't die playing with you all." Yang Nantian and Nai Lin were completely stunned. Chapter 1850 Long Fei, Die Together. Chapter 1850 Long Fei, Die Together. He never thought that Long Fei would actually play such a trick. Too dirty, too treacherous. For a moment, the entire audience was staring at Long Fei with their mouths agape. Damn, isn't this too shameless? Long Fei, Can you be like a man? What's shameless? Is this what it means to be clear-minded? The brain is a good thing. Do you have it? Smart, too smart, the head of 10 disciples, Yang Nantien was killed in an instant before he could even fight. Ha ha ha. This move is too smart. Ha ha ha. Exciting, too exciting. There was a great deal of discussion and praise. Long Fei would not care about what others say. He smiled at Nai Lin and Yang Nanshan's stupefied expressions, and muttered, I won't play you guys to death. The presided elders felt a little awkward. He looked at Nai Lin, who was in Xianyang sect, and had no choice but to step onto the stage. According to the rules of the exchange and the current score situation, God Rare sect, Long Fei's points far exceed that of all the disciples. He is this year's rookie king. Before he could finish, Yang Nantien suddenly stood up and shouted loudly, Wait! Presided elders stopped. Yang Nantien took a step forward and instantly landed in front of Long Fei. He said with cold contempt, Long Fei, is this all you have? You want to do this to me? Yeah. Long Fei laughed and said, I only have this little trick. Do you want to bite me? When it's time to be a scoundrel, you have to be a scoundrel. Yang Nanshan's eyes darkened and said, You. Long Fei laughed. What's wrong with me? Very handsome, right? Yang Nantien said, Long Fei, do you dare to accept my challenge? I will crush you to the ground in 10 moves. You want to duel? Long Fei looked at Yang Nantien. Yang Nantien said, Are you afraid? Long Fei smiled slightly and said, I accept, but don't be anxious. I'll go into the Devil Temple to take a look, just wait here for a bit. Finished. Long Fei was about to walk down the stage. As long as Long Fei entered the Devil Temple, he would be this year's rookie king. Nai Lin suddenly stood up and shouted anxiously, No, we can't let him in. Devil Temple can only enter one person. If Long Fei entered, she would lose this chance. Moreover, every disciple could only participate in one exchange. Since he had come this year, he would no longer have the qualifications to participate next year. This was also the only chance for Nai Lin. Nai Lin's face was ice-cold, and he said, Yang Nantien, what are you still standing there for? Stop him. A cold light flashed in Yang Nanshan's eyes, and he said with cold contempt, Long Fei, if you can't get through me, you'll definitely not be able to enter the Devil Temple. The longsword moved. Buzz buzz buzz. Buzz buzz buzz. Buzz buzz buzz. Sword cries came out, the surrounding area started to crush Long Fei. Yang Nantien used all of his strength right from the start. He could not let Long Fei enter Devil Temple. Long Fei stood in place without moving, and laughed lightly. Yang Nantien, I used to think that you were at least a human being, but never would I have thought that you would actually be a dog that listens to human words, to actually listen to a woman. For a woman, you really can put in a lot of effort. The space between Yang Nanshan's eyebrows tightened. A cold light also flashed through Nai Lin's eyes. All the elders of the 9 major sects were startled, and looked towards Yang Nantien in unison. Yang Nanshan's sword techniques became even sharper, and he bellowed, Long Fei, I do not know what you are talking about, die. Buzz. A sword stroke came out, piercing towards the center of Long Fei's brows. The sword chi in all directions pierced towards like sharp swords. Brother Fei, be careful. Be careful. Ah! Many people cried out in alarm. When Yang Nantien used his full strength, his sword intent soared to the sky, but before Long Fei could even react, he definitely could not block it. I'm going to die. Yang Nantien is the head of the 10 disciples, who among the younger generation can be his match? Sigh. It's a pity, I really like Long Fei. I'm going to die soon. He didn't even have time to react. This sword will take his life. Long Fei didn't react at all, as if he was scared silly. Nai Lin's mouth revealed a proud sneer, and thought to himself, Long Fei, if you want to live, then you have to use that move, right? When you finish using that move, what will you have left? Humph. Nai Lin had been waiting for Long Fei to use the blasting fist. But she had no idea that Long Fei's blasting fist was still in its cooldown and could not be released at all. Everyone looked at Long Fei. Yang Nanshan's sword beam flashed with a golden light, and with 10,000 attacks, he smashed down with all his might, die. His strength was incomparably thick. This strike could easily kill powerhouse of the same level, and could even kill powerhouse of the same level, but Long Fei's current level is Purple Star 6th Order. The aura on his body moved slightly, and his 2 fingers pinched together. Boom! The powerful aura of Purple Star Realm erupted from his body, forming a violent impact, directly smashing the sword chi that was coming from all directions into pieces. The ripple of the void was like a wave, quickly rolling and shaking outwards. At the same time, Long Fei's fingers lightly pinched together, and easily caught Yang Nanshan's long sword, and the power at the tip of his fingers exploded. Boom! Buzz! The long sword broke, and the sword tip landed in Long Fei's hands. Long Fei rushed forward, and instantly landed by Yang Nanshan's side, the sword tip resting on his neck. Everything was completed in an instant like flowing water. It was dazzling to the eye, leaving it unable to take in what was happening. Yang Nantian was shocked, his eyes were filled with shock, he lowered his head and looked at the broken sword on his neck, his body trembling uncontrollably as he said, "Long Fei, there are some things we can discuss." Everyone present was shocked. Especially Nai Lin. What is Long Fei's cultivation level? Wasn't it Blue Star Realm yesterday? No, that's not right. Based on the aura just now, his cultivation must be at least Purple Star Realm and above Yang Nantian. Otherwise, he would not have been able to suppress Yang Nantian in an instant. Purple Star Realm? Heavens, had he been hiding? Otherwise, who would be able to break through dozens of levels in one night? Damn, I'm going crazy. Not everyone could jump ranks and fight back. The realms were extremely important. For those at the first realm to jump ranks and kill those in the first stage of the realm was simply too difficult. Not everyone was as abnormal as Long Fei. Long Fei was only at the 6th stage of the Purple Star Realm and could easily crush him. In the past, I would always kill people above me level, but I've never tried to crush a person below my level. Today, I can finally give it a try. Long Fei whispered into Yang Nanshan's ear, "Tell me, how did you kill the 8 great disciples?" Yang Nanshan's gaze tightened and couldn't help but look at Nai Lin. Nai Lin's face turned green. At this moment, a cold light flashed in Yang Nanshan's eyes as he said, "Long Fei, let's die together." Chapter 1851, Flaming Rebirth, Second Death. Chapter 1851, Flaming Rebirth, Second Death. Let's die together. Seeing Nai Lin's disappointed expression, Yang Nantian immediately threw caution to the wind. He truly liked Nai Lin. You can give anything you like for it. Everything he had done was for Nai Lin, so even if it meant the price of his life, he had to clear the way for Nai Lin. As soon as Yang Nantian finished his sentence, the space between Long Fei's brows tightened, and he immediately felt an extremely dangerous aura surge towards him. Ripples flashed in the air. A flaming warbeast appeared from thin air. Raging flames burned crazily on the warbeast's body, but this was not a dangerous force for him, but rather, it was the heart on its body that could explode. Explosive warbeast. Peak 9th grade warbeast. Is this Yang Nanshan's beast? Not good, Long Fei won't be able to escape. Yang Nantian can't escape either. I didn't think that he would actually use his own life to block Long Fei. He really doesn't want to live. Explosive warbeast. It was an extremely ancient and powerful warbeast. The strength of this type of beast was because they had hearts that could explode. This power was something that the Purple Star Realm could not withstand. Yang Nantian had never summoned his own beast before. No one knew that he had this kind of super strong self-destructing beast. The space between Long Fei's eyebrows tightened. Yang Nantian looked at Long Fei and laughed complacently. Long Fei, I can give up my life for, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. He laughed wildly. Nai Lin's face revealed a smile. She never thought that Yang Nantian would have such an explosive beast. Furthermore, she was very clear what kind of power this explosive beast had. Long Fei won't be able to escape. Even if he killed Yang Nantian now, he himself would also die. Once the explosive warbeast locked onto a target, it would be an existence that would not rest until it was dead. Long Fei looked at Yang Nantian and said, I didn't expect you to be such an infatuated seed, but You love the wrong person, and… Just as Long Fei was about to speak, Yang Nantian suddenly moved, and directly hugged Long Fei's waist, and said, I have never regretted it, Long Fei, let's die together. Ah! Yang Nantian did his best to tightly bind Long Fei, because he would not allow Long Fei to escape. But he did not expect that Long Fei did not flee, and did not move from the start. We can't escape. It's going to explode to death. Sigh, what a pity. This Yang Nantian is too reckless. Ba Wang Hua anxiously ran forward, ignoring everything else. He ran up. Wang Tai's heavy sword landed on the ground, as he also rushed forward like lightning. However, they were too far away. Even if they had arrived at the first possible moment, they wouldn't have been able to stop the explosive war beast. At this moment, even the old monk's eyebrows slightly tightened. They did not make a move. If they were to make a move, then Long Fei would not be the king they were waiting for. Their hearts were also filled with doubt. Is Long Fei that king? The smile on Nai Lin's face became wider, and he laughed complacently. Long Fei, die, no one can stop me, no one, ha ha ha. At this time, no one could save Long Fei. Even if it was the Holy Spirit Defense themselves. Blocking 99% of the attack wasn't enough to ensure Long Fei's death. This was what the erupting beast was afraid of. However, Long Fei actually laughed. Seeing the beast that was pouncing towards him, Long Fei put Yang Nantian behind him, used his body to block the beast, and said, Don't worry, I won't die. At the same time, I won't let you die either. Because I haven't had enough fun. Rumble. 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 The moment the erupting beast pounced down, it released a violent explosion that shook the sky and caused the entire Devil Hills to tremble, sparks flying in all directions. A huge crater was formed in the center of the arena. The flames were still burning. Dead. Long Fei. Long Fei. Ba Wang Hua was about to jump into the flames, but he was stopped by Wang Tai. Ba Wang Hua's tears fell like rain as she continuously shouted, Long Fei, Long Fei. Her heart was torn to shreds and her eyes were filled with despair. Her heart felt as if it had died in an instant. She felt extremely uncomfortable. Nai Lin stood up and walked to the front, and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. He was extremely pleased with himself. In the end, Long Fei did not even release the blasting fist, so it was no longer important anymore. Long Fei was dead, her greatest obstacle had been completely swept clean. If the new king died this year, she would take her place and enter the Devil Temple. She would become the second flying goddess in 1,000 years. Nai Lin laughed. He was laughing gleefully. In her eyes, there was not a single trace of regret for Yang Nantian for her sacrifice. In fact, there was not even a single thought of Yang Nantian. Dead. The head of the 10 disciples, and the Dark Horse died together this year. What a pity. It's been so many years since a genius like him appeared in Devil Island. What a pity. With Yang Nantian dead, and with Long Fei dead, this year's Rookie King will belong to Nai Lin. She didn't even have to fight before she easily obtained the position of Rookie King. She's the biggest winner of the year. At this moment, an elder of the Shenyang sect said gently, Host, Long Fei is dead now. According to the rules of the exchange hall, this year's Rookie King should be choosing a new disciple, right? Right now, your disciple's points are clear at a glance. The Nai Lin of our Shenyang sect is a fully deserving new king. Presided elders looked at the flames that were still burning and let out a light breath. According to the rules of the exchange hall, the one with the highest points is the Rookie King, so this year's Rookie King is Shenyang sect's Nai Lin. As soon as he finished, Ba Wang Hua immediately shouted out, I can't accept this. Ba Wang Hua's fists shook, he stared straight at Nai Lin once again, and said, I do not accept it. Next. Voices came from all around the stands. I can't accept it either. We can't accept this either. Nai Lin did not do anything. What right did he have to be the new king? He just couldn't accept it. Ba Wang Hua was more unwilling, so she refused to accept it. Nai Lin's gaze tensed up, and turned towards an old man, and in that moment, crack, 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 like lightning, The 2 elders and the 4 disciples at God Rare sect were killed by the 3 black-robed experts in an instant. Everything happened too quickly. Laughed coldly. Is there anyone else who is unconvinced? Everything had already been arranged. Bawang Hua turned around to look and his anger surged. He stared at Nai Lin and said, "What a sinister method." Nai Lin looked at Bawang Hua coldly, and said, "Evil scheme? This world is the world of the powerhouse. Who would care about the death of a weak person? I'll ask now. Is there anyone else who is unconvinced?" His aura was ferocious, and his body emitted the aura of a queen. At this moment, the flames in the deep pit flickered, and one figure flew out as Yang Nanshan's body directly landed beside Nai Lin. At the same time, a voice resounded from the flames, "I refuse to accept this." Chapter 1852, Heartless and New Students. Chapter 1852, Heartless and New Students. I refuse to accept this. A person walked out of the flickering flame. White hair like snow. His silver robe fluttered in the wind. He walked out of the pit step by step, his body wreathed in flames. Everyone focused their gazes on him. Bawang Hua was overjoyed. He covered his mouth with one hand, as though he was afraid that he would cry, and said with tears of joy, "Dragon, dragon." Long Fei Wang Tai's eyes darkened and he subconsciously clenched his fists tightly. "Flame has been reborn, Brother Fei." LV Shuangchuan's eyes were filled with worship. "Too awesome, so mighty and domineering, Brother Fei. It's him. It's Long Fei. He's not dead yet. He actually didn't die. Good heavens, how is that possible? The explosive power of the explosive war beast is extremely strong. How can he not die? Ha ha ha. Long Fei is mighty. This is going to be fun." For a time, the entire exchange hall was in an uproar. Long Fei walked out step by step. He was completely unharmed, not even a single strand of hair. Of course. Just as he walked into the flames, his god's immortal bead once again released a strong power. This is Long Fei's second death. Moreover, the black stripes on his heart were becoming denser and denser. This was the transformation brought about by his second death, causing his heart's strength to increase once again. Within the flames, strands of power flashed out from the dragon-shaped mark on his right arm, wrapping around his entire body. It was incomparably cool. After walking out from the flames, Bawang Hua could no longer control himself and directly threw himself into Long Fei's embrace. Like a little girl, she lightly punched Long Fei on the chest. "You scared me to death. You scared me to death. Woo woo." She started to sob softly. Long Fei lightly patted Bawang Hua's back and gently said, "I won't let you worry next time." Bawang Hua said, "Swear." Long Fei said, "I swear to the heavens." Bawang Hua snickered and said, "That's more like it." And then, Bawang Hua looked at the nearby Nai Lin with a purplish-blue face and said, "I don't like her, so you shouldn't like her either, okay?" Long Fei laughed, "I have never liked her. Now, at this moment, I only like you." Bawang Hua's smile became even more brilliant. Incomparable happiness. The surrounding crowd attracted the admiration of countless young girls. Even the woman in her 50s was filled with envy and jealousy. Nai Lin's face became incomparably ugly. Yang Nantian crawled up from the ground with difficulty and said, "Junior sister, I'm sorry. I never thought that he would actually be able to withstand the explosive power of the explosive beast. Pa." Suddenly, Nai Lin slapped his face loudly. He stared at Yang Nantian and said, "Trash. Why didn't you die?" The entire audience was stunned. Yang Nantian was already severely injured, but this slap had directly slapped him down to the ground. The 5 finger marks on his face were clearly visible, and he was in extreme pain. There was no place as painful as his heart. He looked at Nai Lin and said, "Junior sister, you." Nai Lin didn't even spare a glance at Yang Nantian, and said coldly, "Before I get angry, you'd better disappear from my sight, and never appear again." Yang Nanshan's heart sank again. There was nothing worse than a heartache. Looking at Nai Lin, who was like a stranger, Yang Nantian felt incomparable despair. Everything he had done for her he thought he could exchange back for Nai Lin's sincere treatment, however. Now, Yang Nantian crawled up from the ground with much difficulty and said, "Junior sister, can you not treat me like this? As long as you give me 3 years' time, I will take back everything I have. I will trample Long Fei beneath my feet." Not waiting for him to finish, Nai Lin turned and slapped him yet again, as he said coldly, "Yang Nantian, who do you think you are? Scram. This is your last chance to live." Nai Lin's eyes were cold, and continued, "You think I will marry you? Do you think I'd like you? You are just a pawn of mine, a pawn that will clear the way for me. You are now just a piece of trash, a pawn that has no value at all. Do you understand?" Ha ha ha. After saying that, Nai Lin laughed coldly. She was no longer afraid of anyone. Yang Nantian's heart was broken. He staggered, as if he couldn't even stand steadily. Long Fei grinned and laughed softly, saying, "Yang Nantian, this taste, is it good? If I let you die just now, you wouldn't have been able to experience this feeling." He didn't care if Yang Nantian was heartbroken or dead, what he wanted was this kind of scene. Even if it meant letting him have a taste of the pain he would never be able to cure. He hated himself, he hated Nai Lin, at the same time. He hated Long Fei even more, as he let out a hysterical roar, and said, "Long Fei, even if I have to become a ghost, I still won't forgive you, ah." He fiercely charged forward. He rushed out from Nai Lin's side. At that moment, Yang Nantian looked at Nai Lin. How he wished that Nai Lin could pull him back. Because he was very clear that he was not Long Fei's match, and Nai Lin was also clear that he wanted to see if there was any trace of pain in Nai Lin's heart. But not at all. The moment their 4 eyes met, all Yang Nantian saw was heartlessness, coldness, and that sort of trash-like contempt. Yang Nantian laughed. Moreover, he didn't know why, but his heart suddenly stopped hurting. He didn't know if it was because he was numb or because he was in pain. But his speed towards Long Fei did not decrease at all. He used all his strength. He was prepared to die. There was no one left in this world and nothing was worth his attention. To him, death was a type of release. "Long Fei, come." Yang Nantian roared out, he used all his strength, but in the end he did not attack Long Fei, he knew that he was no match for him. He wanted to die too. Long Fei allowed him to see Nai Lin clearly, and let him understand everything. To be able to die in Long Fei's hands was the best fate for him. However, the moment he landed, Long Fei grabbed him by the collar, fiercely dragged him, and smashed him onto the ground. "It's just a woman, if you're a man, then you can stand up again. Follow my footsteps. I will bring you along to enter the Devil Temple." Long Fei did not kill Yang Nantian. His goal had already been achieved, and the current Yang Nantian was no longer the Yang Nantian from 1 minute ago. His 10 ratings super strong talent was something that was common in the entire Devil Island. How could Long Fei let such a super genius die just like that? Yang Nantian was stunned. He laid on the ground and looked at Long Fei. Long Fei stretched out his right hand, and said, "If you're a man, then you better get back up. If you're not a man, then pretend I didn't say anything." Long Fei looked at Yang Nantian seriously. Yang Nantian looked at the hand that Long Fei extended out, hesitated for a few seconds, and then grabbed Long Fei's hand and stood up from the ground. As if Yang Nantian obtained a new life, no one wanted to die. In that moment, he saw clearly that everything was like an epiphany, and Long Fei gave him a new life. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "I'm done. Now we will enter the Devil Temple together." While they were talking, he did not look at Nai Lin at all. Nai Lin was so angry and flustered that he looked like a wild cat. He roared, "Kill them all." Chapter 1853, All the New Kings. Chapter 1853, All the New Kings so angry, so angry, so angry. Long Fei did not even bother with her. Long Fei saved those she did not want. Furthermore, he had to bring Yang Nantian to the Devil Temple, which made Nai Lin extremely unhappy. Thus, she could not wait either. The idea moved and sent out an order, "Kill them all." Boom. With that, dozens of black-robed experts descended from the plaza. Bawang Hua immediately said, "Long Fei, it was they who killed the elders and disciples of God Rare sect. Yang Nantian also looked at Nai Lin with a face full of shock, and said, "So it turns out that everything had been planned beforehand." Nai Lin sneered, and said, "Do you think I would rely on a useless trash like you? Yang Nantian, you think too highly of yourself. In my eyes, aren't you just a chess piece that clears the entire 10 disciples for me? But you, MPH, you can't even take care of one Long Fei, you truly disappoint me." Yang Nantian laughed bitterly, and did not refute him. His heart was dead now, and he was no longer the same as he had been a minute ago. Even if Nai Lin taunted him again, he would not do anything if he said anything unpleasant. Quite a few elders from the various sects in 9 major sects shouted, "Nai Lin, what are you trying to do? Are you crazy? Who are these people?" Many black-clothed experts appeared at 9 major sects. This made the elders of the 9 major sects extremely unhappy. "It's one thing for you to deal with Long Fei, but you want to deal with us?" Nai Lin laughed coldly. "Those who obey me will die, those who oppose me will die. I don't care which sect you are from, whoever dares to go against me will end up dead." "This is too presumptuous." An elder heavily shouted, "A mere new disciple dares to be so rude. Elder Xian Yang, if your disciple is unable to handle this matter, then I will be in charge of this matter." Without waiting for the elder of the Shenyang sect to speak, the elder immediately rushed towards Nai Lin. Nai Lin stood in place without moving, coldly laughed, and said, "You overestimate your capabilities, die." In mid-air, a thick wave of energy came crashing down. The elder was instantly blasted down, all the meridians in his body shattered, black blood continuously flowed out from the corner of his mouth. He was a powerhouse of the Purple Star Realm, and with a single move, he was killed. How strong was this black-clothed expert? The complexions of all the elders of 9 major sects changed as they swept their gaze over the crowd. Looking at the nearly 100 assassins in black, they were a little nervous in their hearts. Nai Lin laughed coldly, "I will say again, those who follow me will suffer, those who go against me will die, if anyone goes against me. Heh, you guys also saw the result. Long Fei, you too. I know you have another fist technique that can instantly kill someone, but you can only kill one person. Today, you have nowhere to run, so you either have to kneel down and submit to me, or die here." Nai Lin coldly looked at Long Fei. She was always paying attention to the distance between her and Long Fei, and the blasting fist was the power she was most afraid of. Long Fei grinned, and said, "Kneel down, and submit to you. These assassins in black. That's not right. To be precise, all of these black-clothed powerhouses should be 9 major sects, right? If my guess is not wrong, they should be the new king of all generations, right?" Long Fei swept his gaze across them and laughed coldly. In broad daylight, his face was covered by black clothes. Obviously. They just didn't want others to know who they were. Furthermore, they were listening to Nai Lin's orders, so there must be some sort of deal. The only condition that would move their hearts was to enter Devil Temple again. They had entered it before and knew what was hidden inside, so they wanted to enter it a second time. Man's greed is limitless. The Devil Temple was a kind of shrine to any warrior. After all, anyone who could soar into the sky wanted to be the second flying goddess to leave the Devil Island. That was why Long Fei had made such a guess. As soon as he finished, the entire arena was shocked. Generations of new kings? They are all super powerhouse of the Devil Island. "Is it you, Liu Yi? Are you in here? Speak up," a sect elder said in a low voice. At this moment, in the crowd, a man in black took off his veil. "It's really you," that elder shouted in a flustered and exasperated tone. "Come back here, you are a member of my 7-star sect, yet you are listening to a woman's orders?" Liu Yi did not move, not even a little bit. There was not a single ripple in his ice-cold eyes. When the 7-star sect's rookie king was discovered, the other sects felt as if they had exploded, and immediately called out their previous generation of rookie kings. These masked experts all took off their veils one by one, revealing their original appearances. Just as Long Fei had guessed, they were all the new king. He was completely stupefied. It really is them. This, how is this possible? Nai Lin has actually gathered so many new king cultivators, who can even touch him? This is bad. I'm afraid we're all going to die here. If even the people from the 9 major sects could kill them, then these spectators would definitely not let them off. Immediately, the stands were in a state of panic. Some of them escaped, while others knelt down towards Nai Lin, indicating their allegiance. Not a single one. Nai Lin gave an order, smiled at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, I have no choice but to admit that you are very smart. Since you have already guessed it, then you should understand the strength that I currently possess." Hee. You, him. All the people around you must die. While they were talking, Nai Lin pointed to the person beside Long Fei. Long Fei smiled and said, "Just to enter the Devil Temple?" Nai Lin said, "That's right, for the sake of entering the Devil Temple. You and I do not know what is inside the Devil Temple. You do not understand the power that exists inside the Devil Temple that can change fate for me. You don't even know how much effort you have spent to enter my clan in order to enter the Devil Temple. Long Fei, you don't know about this. I want to become the second flying goddess. I won't be tied down by such a small devil island, my goal. It's the ancient holy battlefield." Nai Lin's chi started to heat up. She had shouldered this mission since she was young, and she had to lead her family out of Devil Island, leaving the forsaken godland. Long Fei looked at Nai Lin in shock, and said, "What are you doing? If you follow me, you will achieve all of these goals." Ha ha ha. Follow you? A trash whose inherent skill has been crippled following you? And following you, a useless person who only knows how to instantly kill people. Nai Lin laughed contemptuously. "Perhaps I have liked you at some point in time, but you are unable to give me the thing that I want, so you are destined to not become my home. Moreover, you're too smart, so I'm not 100% sure that I can control you. So, either you kneel to me, or you die here today." Nai Lin stared at Long Fei with full confidence, not putting him in his eyes at all. Chapter 1854, Despair, Nai Lin. Chapter 1854, Despair, Nai Lin. In her heart, she admitted that she had liked Long Fei at some point in time, and at some point in time, she even thought that Long Fei was the home for her entire life. She was a very realistic person. When Long Fei had proposed the idea of taking a risk to subdue the Hell Reaper, she had already known that she and Long Fei would never be able to do it. Long Fei could not be controlled by her either. Right now, everything was under his control. As long as he had these new king powerhouse, she would not be afraid of anyone, and Long Fei would the same. Moreover, if Long Fei could be used by her, Long Fei's blasting fist would become one of her killing moves. Long Fei, a wise man, submits to circumstances. As long as you kneel to me, I will spare your life, and guarantee that I will take you with me to Devil Temple. Nai Lin laughed coldly. Long Fei didn't have a choice. He had no choice if he wanted to live. Bawang Hua looked at Long Fei, his eyes motionless. Nai Lin looked at Bawang Hua and said, "Look at those small eyes, how infatuated are you? Long Fei, you are the only one who has a choice, the 3 of them. No, it should be 3 useless dogs and 1 useless dog. I don't need any trash." The useless dog said that it was talking about Yang Nantian. Yang Nantian laughed. Wang Tai was not happy. "Brother Fei, let's go all out." Bawang Hua said heavily, "Fight." Ha ha ha. Nai Lin laughed out loud and said, "Fight with me? What qualifications do you have to fight me? Just with trash like you? Let's recognize the reality. Long Fei, is there a limit to my patience? Kneel or not?" Nai Lin shouted out majestically like a queen. Long Fei laughed. "Why do you always want others to kneel before you so that you can display your superiority? Then I want to know who gave you this feeling of superiority." As Long Fei spoke, he slowly turned around to look at Devil Temple, who was not far away from him. "As a person, I don't really like being passive. I usually like to take the initiative, just like how one would clap. I usually like to ride on a woman's back." Nai Lin's brows tightened, and said, "So this is your choice?" Long Fei said, "Don't be anxious, I will let you know what my choice is. Last night, when I was about to be pushed off the cliff, I said it before, don't let me come back alive, otherwise, I will slowly play you to death. Yang Nantian has already ended, and you. It hasn't started yet. Yang Nanshan's eyes were unmoving. He was not angry because of what he said, but instead thanked Long Fei. It was Long Fei who allowed him to see through the reality and this malicious woman, Nai Lin. Nai Lin laughed in disdain as he looked at Long Fei. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, you are overestimating yourself. Do you think your purple star realm is very powerful? You are really not an ordinary arrogant person. Long Fei took a few more steps in the direction of the Devil Temple, and said, "That's right, I am very arrogant. You will soon see me being even more arrogant." As soon as he finished. When Long Fei removed the Shu Mi rings from his body, it moved slightly and then shouted loudly, "Collect them for me." The Shu Mi rings flew into the air in front of Nai Lin. A bizarre energy enveloped the enormous Devil Temple, and also at this moment, the holy power value in Long Fei's body instantly dropped by 1,000,000 points. Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock in his heart. Damn, this Devil Temple doesn't look as big as those 2 mountains, but it would consume 1,000,000 points of divine power. This was something that Long Fei did not expect. However, fortunately, his current holy power value was at 102,000 points, so losing 1,000,000 points was not a problem. The holy power value of 200,000 points was more than enough for him at the moment. Buzz buzz buzz. Buzz buzz buzz. The strange power was like a red light scanning. In that short period of time, boom, the Devil Temple suddenly disappeared. He was being sucked into the Shu Mi rings, and even the old monk that was guarding the temple was being sucked in. Actually, before this, Long Fei had already sent a sound transmission to them and obtained their tacit approval to do so. The old monk also agreed to allow them to be sucked into the Shu Mi rings. When they saw Long Fei being reborn from the flames, they were already 100% certain that Long Fei was that king. Gone. Gone. The Devil Temple is gone. He disappeared into thin air. Everyone present was stunned, and Nai Lin's expression changed even more. His entire person had gone bad, as if he had gone mad, and roared out, "Long Fei, what did you do?" Long Fei put away the ring, smiled slightly, and said, "I didn't do anything, I just kept Devil Temple. Do you know how arrogant I am now?" When Nai Lin had disappeared from the mountain last time, she felt her heart tighten. At that time, she thought that some kind of superpower house was cultivating some sort of mountain shifting technique, but she never could have imagined that it was just a ring. Ba Wanghua said excitedly, "This move is too cool." Wang Tai said simply, "Handsome." LV Shuangchuan replied, "How can you be called handsome? He's so handsome that he's practically falling to the ground like a pile of dregs. Brother Fei, you are really my super idol." Ha ha ha. Look at Nai Lin's ugly face, it's as though someone slapped him dozens of times. It's too satisfying, ha ha ha. LV Shuangchuan said excitedly. It was truly a relief. Everything she had worked for suddenly turned into nothingness in front of her. This feeling was even worse than if he had killed her. Nai Lin raged. He had gone mad. Both eyes stared straight at Long Fei, like a shrew on the streets, and said, "Long Fei, hand over Devil Temple to me, quickly." Long Fei grinned, "Didn't you like people to kneel? Right now, kneel down and beg me, I might even get the Devil Temple out." Nai Lin said in a deep voice, "You're courting death." Long Fei said, "You want to die?" Heh heh. Long Fei laughed, "Then come, I will let you experience something even more arrogant than the disappearance of Devil Temple. Play, you have to play slowly." At first, Long Fei did not think of killing Nai Lin. However, now, Long Fei would never let her live, because she had made him extremely unhappy. The most important thing was that she had threatened the people around Long Fei, and that was the bottom line in Long Fei's heart. Unhappy. For him. However, it was impossible to harm the people around him. Nai Lin was about to go crazy, and said, "Fine, then I'll see what kind of strength you have left. Today, I will kill you. Everyone, go, kill Long Fei and you will have the Devil Temple in your complete control." Nai Lin ordered. Whoosh. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. One figure after another landed and quickly surrounded Long Fei. The Ba Wanghua was a bit closer to Long Fei, so Wang Tai and LV Shuangchuan directly stepped in front of him to block the attack. Yang Nantian picked up a dagger from the ground and walked over. Long Fei laughed. I'll let you all experience my ability to act even more arrogant. Hell Reaper, come out. Despair, Nai Lin. Chapter 1855 Variant Boss. Chapter 1855 Variant Boss. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, Hell Reaper flew out from Long Fei's Shu Mi rings and landed heavily beside him, forming a circle. 12 killers. He was covered in a jet-black steel armor, holding a half-moon sickle in his hand, and his eyes were as cold as a dead man's. The eyes of the strongest assassin. Never see anything in his eyes. Moreover, compared to the Hell Reaper that appeared last night, the auras of the 12 killers were much different. By injecting Giant's power into them, they had completely doubled their power. The appearance of the 12 Hell Reaper-s made all the new King-s stop in their tracks, and their expressions changed greatly. They were incomparably familiar with the Hell Reaper. Everyone had seen it before, and they were more clear of the Hell Reaper's strength. Hell Reaper. Long Fei really succeeded. He really subdued all 12 Hell Reaper. Oh my God, how is this possible? Are you dreaming? How can we subdue Hell Reaper? Even the top spirit master cultivators would not be able to do it. Hell Reaper has super strong fighting strength. Look at Nai Lin's face. Despair. He was truly in despair. She did not despair when Yang Nantian lost to her. Devil Temple had disappeared, but she still did not despair. But now, with the appearance of the 12 Hell Reaper-s, she fell into despair. This feeling was very uncomfortable. He was unwilling, but he could not find any chance. It was as if he could not see any hope in his life. Nai Lin's entire body trembled as he said in a heavy voice, You. Long Fei laughed. Am I very handsome? Nai Lin clenched her teeth. She did not want all of her efforts to be wasted, and all of her family's efforts to be wasted, just like that. Unwillingness. Nai Lin's voice was cold to the extreme, her eyes were completely bloodshot, the killing intent in her eyes was extremely dense. Long Fei, I will never let you go. Kill them all. By the time she brought the new king to this place, she no longer had any way out. Now, Long Fei had everything of hers in his hands. At this time, he had no other choice but to fight to the death. Nai Lin took a step forward, and an enormous void door rushed out from the sky as a gigantic divine-level warbeast charged out. Standing on top of the warbeast's head, Nai Lin let out a buzzing sound from behind him. Holy artifact. Long Fei saw through it with a glance. There were not many holy artifacts in Devil Island. Even the 10 sects did not have many. Moreover, the moment Nai Lin summoned out her divine-level beast, the light emitted from her body also instantly changed. Her originally colorless face instantly turned golden, while her name turned from white to red and black. The boss had mutated. Long Fei stared at Nai Lin and laughed. So you are the big hidden boss, it seems like you hid your strength well. Long Fei did not expect this. Nai Lin hid herself very well. I have to say that Nai Lin was good at hiding herself, and made use of all the powers that could be used. Long Fei. Today, if you don't die, then I die. Nai Lin bellowed out, and the divine beast let out a roar. Nai Lin said, Kill. At the same time, Long Fei's mouth twitched, and said, Seems like you still haven't given up all hope. Kill the Hell Reaper, whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk the 12 Hell Reaper-s split into 12 thin lines, and directly exploded outwards. Long Fei's order was to kill. Therefore, none of them stayed behind to protect Long Fei. Brother Fei, is it too dangerous? LV Shuangchuan immediately said. Yang Nantian said, Long Fei, Nai Lin's divine-level beasts are very powerful. I am afraid that even we together are not a match for that demon beast. You should have left 1 or 2 Hell Reaper-s behind. Indeed. Deity-level war beasts were incomparably savage. Just this divine-level beast was already something that Long Fei and the rest could not handle. Yang Nantian knew, and so did Nai Lin. Seeing that the 12 Hell Reaper-s had all rushed out, Nai Lin's gaze tensed up as he shouted sinisterly, Long Fei, die. He only had one chance. Even if Nai Lin were to take the risk, she would not give up. When 12 Hell Reapers turned around, she had no chance at all. Not to mention the 90 new King Powerhouse. Even if she had twice as many people, she would still not be a match for 12 Hell Reapers. As long as they could kill Long Fei, everything would come to an end. Nai Lin was very clear of this point. The moment she saw 12 Hell Reapers rush out, a sharp light flashed in her eyes, as she charged forward in an instant. A divine-level war beast was unscrupulous. No one could resist it. When Wang Tai's heavy sword fell, the brown-colored bones on his back were rapidly mutated, and the energy throughout his entire body was especially violent. As the heavy sword landed, both of his hands were tightly clenched. Buzz! The heavy sword, which was originally full of rust, emitted a golden glow from the gap in the rust. It roared and stepped forward. "I'll go first," Wang Tai roared. He wanted to block everything for Long Fei. However, Long Fei was a step ahead of him, and directly pulled Wang Tai back, and said slightly, "Don't be anxious, it's not your turn to die for me yet, you still have to live well." The divine-level beast could crush Wang Tai into powder with one move. Even if he became stronger now, it wouldn't be able to resist. Wang Tai looked at Long Fei. Everyone looked at Long Fei. Facing a divine-level beast, even the Purple Star Peak realm was unable to resist, but Long Fei stood unmoving in his original place, his aura the same. He didn't try to defend at all. There were no energy fluctuations either. Is he crazy? What is he doing? This, what is he thinking? Could it be that he wants to use his own body to resist this divine-level war beast? Are you sick? At this time, we should have let a Hell Reaper return. No one understood Long Fei. What was he doing? Died. Seeing Long Fei being so calm, her heart faintly sank, and she became a little worried. But, since you are courting death, I shall fulfill your wish. The king's roar. The divine-ranked beast unleashed its strength from its abdomen as it roared at Long Fei with its bloody mouth wide open. The 9 purple gold holy artifact swords on Nai Lin's back also flew out at the same time. They all rushed towards Long Fei. His life was hanging by a thread. At this moment, however, the corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly, and coldly sneered, "I've said it before, it seems like you still don't have enough despair." Nai Lin's gaze turned cold. Could it be that Long Fei still had useless trump cards? What else? Is it that kind of instant fist technique? A chill rose in her heart. And at this time, Long Fei moved. Just as he was about to summon out the giant clan's giant, a miserable scream came out. In the sky, a red-crowned crane descended from the sky. In an instant, the incomparably sharp mouth was like a long sword, fiercely thrusting downwards and piercing through the head of the divine-level beast at Nai Lin's feet, staring at the top of the mountain. Dead. Flying crane. Chapter 1856 Giant Clan, Enter the Battle. Chapter 1856 Giant Clan, Enter the Battle. Flying Crane instantly defeated that divine-level war beast. He was going to die. The huge body of Nai Lin fell down, and Nai Lin, who was standing on top of his head, was flung down, rolling on the ground, and staggering. At this moment, the figure on top of the flying crane moved. Wang. The sword hummed. It instantly descended. The distance between them was less than half a centimeter. As long as he used a little more strength, he could use his strength to instantly blow his head off. Wait! Long Fei anxiously shouted, his heart complaining. Just like that, a god-level war beast disappeared. These were all experience points. It's all holy power value. It was even possible for holy artifact to drop. He died just like that, but the key thing was that Long Fei did not kill him, so he did not obtain anything. Looking at the gigantic divine-level beast, he complained in his heart, if Nai Lin the variant boss was killed, he wouldn't be playing the game anymore. Stop immediately. The sword intent on desperate man slightly retracted. Seizing this chance, Nai Lin's feet lightly tapped, and quickly retreated. Clang. In the eyes of the desperate man, although he could chase after her and easily catch up to her, he did not do so. Long Fei walked over, looked at desperate man and said, "I was worried that you would die." Seeing that the desperate man was stronger than before and even had obtained such a big crane, Long Fei's worries were unnecessary. Long Fei looked at the great immortal crane and said, "This guy is so powerful, killing a divine level beast in one move." "What is this immortal crane called?" Desperate Man said, "Flying crane." In that instant, Long Fei's eyes immediately went blank as he stared at the incomparably huge red-crowned crane. He was extremely shocked in his heart as he said in his heart, "Is this my mother's mount? Flying crane? Can he fly me out of the Devil Island?" Long Fei's heart became excited. Flying cranes are flying millions of kilometers in a day. Where can they not fly with this kind of mount? If they could really fly through the Demon Sea, then they wouldn't have to worry about not being able to leave Devil Island. However, Long Fei did not know the size of the Demon Sea. He did not know that there was no war beast in this world that could fly beyond the Fiend Sea. Just like a butterfly that could not fly past the Blue Sea, it was impossible for any war beast. Otherwise, his mother wouldn't have been able to fly up to break out of the Forbidden Zone. While Long Fei was looking at the flying crane was also looking at Long Fei. This feeling was hard to describe. Just like a family member. Flying crane, it's a flying crane. A flying crane that had disappeared from the God Rare sect for many years. I never thought that it would actually appear in the Devil Hills. Flying crane is the #1 war beast of Devil Island, an unmatched existence. As long as the flying crane stands guard, no matter how much of a trash the God Rare sect is, they will not fall from the position of the 10 sect. But why would he be here? Didn't they say that it has disappeared many years ago? I don't care if the flying cranes are or not. Look at Nai Lin's face now. What did you see? Despair. Yes. It's despair. Ha ha ha. This is so fun, even more fun than a few King Peerless beauties. Ha ha ha. Despair. He was truly in despair. The last shred of hope was shattered. The divine level warbeasts were killed, Flying Crane appeared, Desperate Man appeared, and the surrounding Rookie Kings were slaughtered by the 12 Hell Reaper. The situation had already turned for the better. Nai Lin's eyes were filled with incomparable despair. At this time, Long Fei walked forward, looked at Nai Lin, and said, "Have you given up all hope? Did it collapse? Are you satisfied?" "Why?" Nai Lin stared at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, other than relying on these people, what other uses do you have? You're still a piece of trash. A trash like you is not fit to enter the Devil Temple." Long Fei grinned, "That's right, I'm useless, but I can enter the Devil Temple. What's wrong? Are you upset? Aya, do you still have the qualifications to be unhappy?" Long Fei acted as if he was as lowly as he could get. Nai Lin held onto his sword tightly and stared at Long Fei. "Long Fei, do you dare to fight with me one-on-one?" "Wow. One-on-one?" Long Fei revealed a shocked expression, and said, "So scared." Nai Lin said, "You don't dare?" "That's right. How dare trash like you fight with me?" Intimidation. If they could kill Long Fei, they might be able to reverse the situation. Even now, Nai Lin had not given up. Her heart was still filled with killing intent, wanting to put Long Fei to death. How vicious. A woman's heart, once poisoned, was 10,000 times more vicious than a snake or a scorpion. Long Fei smiled faintly, and said, "Since you have already issued your challenge, then fine, let's duel each other." Ba Wang Hua immediately pulled Long Fei back, and said, "Let me go. I want to fight her." Yang Nantian said, "Brother Long, she has always been hiding her strength, and she is a member of the Spirit Communication Technique family. There is definitely not only one beast, you do not have an advantage in fighting him, why not let me do it?" Nai Lin was extremely shrewd. This kind of woman would use every move at this point in time. Desperate Man said lightly, "The flying crane can help you." He did not say it explicitly, but what Desperate Man saw in the Hall of Immortals made him understand that the owner of this flying crane was Long Fei, not him. Long Fei said indifferently, "This is not good, we will be laughed at, after all, he is a weak girl, right Sister Nai Lin? We're not going to do those useless things. We're just going to rely on our own strength to fight with each other. What do you think?" Long Fei revealed a very innocent look. A look of despise flashed across Nai Lin's eyes as he sneered in his heart, "Arrogant and proud, if you were to fight with me one-on-one, I'm not trash like that Yang Nantian. I'll let you die an incomparably miserable death." Immediately, Nai Lin moved slightly and landed on the stage that was filled with ruins. Pointing his sword, he pointed at Long Fei and said, "Come." Long Fei calmly walked forward, his eyes very innocent and his expression very naive. He looked at Nai Lin and asked, "You won't summon any more beasts, right? Also, the 9 swords on your back are not bad. I really like them." Nai Lin sneered and said, "Your head isn't bad, and I like it a lot. Give him to me." "Sure." Long Fei smiled and walked to the ruined stage. Nai Lin's gaze darkened. The long sword suddenly moved, his steps were like a phantom as he quickly charged towards Long Fei, the 9 long swords behind him buzzing as they shot into the sky. Buzz! Buzz! Wung! Roars came out. The sky was not a sword, but a sword beast. The 9 swords were not swords, but spirit beasts, sword beasts. This was Nai Lin's strongest beast. "Long Fei, go and die." Nai Lin shouted excitedly. Long Fei slowly sighed, "Sigh. Why didn't you learn your lesson? Giant clan, come out." Chapter 1857, The Bottom Line is Touched. Chapter 1857, The Bottom Line is Touched 1v1. Nai Lin had never thought of fighting with Long Fei one-on-one. She would find a chance to kill Long Fei. Therefore, when Long Fei stepped into her attack range, she did not have any time to wait, and used her entire strength to crush Long Fei. However, she was too clever. She didn't understand Long Fei at all. He simply did not understand what kind of person Long Fei was. Who knew how many trump cards he still had that were useless? Of course, Long Fei had never thought of fighting with Nai Lin one-on-one either. "Are you insidious? I am more sinister than you are," that is what Long Fei is like. The 9 swords became 9-headed divine level sword beast and descended from the sky with the intent to kill Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei moved his hands and the Shu Mi rings shook violently. Along roared, "Who dares to touch my lord?" Rumble. 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 The moment he landed, the peak of the mountain violently shook, and even the sky was trembling. Powerful energy ripples spread out one after another, and it was completely unable to withstand the force. Along appeared, shocking everyone. "Huge, giant, is a giant, my god. Why are there giants here? Didn't they say that the giant clan is dead? Isn't this guy too big? What's his name? Long Fei? Master? How can this be? Wow, Big Brother Fei's explosion, the 12 Hell Reaper-s have submitted, even the giants have submitted, it's too awesome." For a moment, everyone was stupefied. Giant Clan was an ancient clan, and according to the legends, they were the first clan to be abandoned by the gods. They only knew that they were the first group of people from Devil Island. The purpose of the appearance of the Devil Island was to imprison the Giant Clan. Countless years had passed, but the Giant Clan's footprints had never appeared. Many people even thought that the Giant Clan was just a legend, there was no such race. Now that he was right in front of them, the shock he felt was incomparable. When Along appeared, he looked down and scanned the area with his cold eyes. He then opened his giant palm and swept outwards, immediately turning the 9-sword beast back into their original 9 swords. He fiercely stabbed it into the ground. Boom, 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 boom. The 9 swords were like 9 iron pillars, surrounding Nai Lin and trapping him inside. It was also at this time. Along glared and roared fiercely, "Are you the one who repeatedly wants to kill my master?" His voice was like thunder, and it was unbearable. Nai Lin's heart was about to burst. Without waiting for her to react, Along's fists exploded, smashing straight towards Nai Lin's head. Rumble. Space itself was pulverized by his fist wind. Strong wind raged above Nai Lin's head, his hair was in disarray, and his face was covered in streaks of blood as though a knife was cutting through it. It was extremely painful. Long Fei's eyes moved. Along did not continue his attack. Instead, he smashed onto Nai Lin's body, and with a loud noise, a huge crater appeared on the ground. Along disdainfully said, "You think you can deal with my master just by yourself? I can't kill you and me, humph." It was extremely disdainful. Nai Lin's face was extremely pale. His eyes were filled with despair. Long Fei looked at her and asked, "Is the duel fun?" Nai Lin stared at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, I won't let you go, and my Nai family won't let you go either. You think you can win? Ha ha ha. Stop dreaming, this is only the beginning. Just wait and see. Your God Rare sect is probably dead by now, ha ha ha." Nai Lin suddenly laughed out wildly. "Do you think you have one? Do you think you can win? You are indeed very strong, but can you fight against a god? Can you fight against fate? Ha ha ha." Laughter without restraint. It was as if he had gone insane. Long Fei looked at the space between her eyebrows and asked, "Are you from the Destiny God?" Nai Lin revealed a sinister cold smile, and said, "How is it? Are you afraid? Didn't think of it. No matter how powerful you are, can you fight against a god?" After she left the underground palace and returned to the Xianyang sect, she was suddenly selected by the Destiny God. She had obtained limitless power, and in just a short span of half a month, she had continuously broken through. Her power had risen, and this was only the first step. The power bestowed to her by the Destiny God was too strong, and she longed for it greatly, so she had to leave the Devil Island and enter the ancient holy battlefield even more. She wanted more of this power. As soon as Nai Lin finished his sentence, the entire audience was shocked. Destiny God? The supreme god of the main temple? Why would he appear in Devil Island? This is not the forbidden land of gods. How is that possible? It sounded impossible, but to Long Fei, he was extremely clear that he almost killed Zhong Wushuang in the underground palace. Zhong Wushuang must have told Destiny God this after he returned to the ancient holy battlefield. Destiny God? He here. Long Fei gritted his teeth as he grit his teeth and stared at Nai Lin like a demon. He said sinisterly, "I have never wanted to kill you, even when you have mutated into a boss. I have always been convincing myself not to kill you, because I like killing women, and even more so I do not like killing a woman that I once had a good impression of." But his voice was extremely cold. He really did not think of killing Nai Lin. If it was any other boss, she would have died long ago. Long Fei did not kill her, but he did. However, since Nai Lin was from the Destiny God, then he had to touch the strings that he shouldn't touch, the deepest part of his heart. No matter who she was, she had to die now. Looking at Long Fei's cold and sinister eyes, it was the first time in Nai Lin's life that he felt that kind of fear. His body trembled a little. "Long Fei, I am from the Destiny God, you dare to kill me? Destiny God will not let you go." Long Fei grinned, "You're from the Destiny God? Did the Destiny God tell you what kind of person I am? Surely not. Heh. Let me tell you something." Before he could finish, Long Fei took a step forward, with the devil sword in one hand and fire dragon knife in the other. There were no moves. Even if he had to release all of his power, he could still vent it out. At the same time, Long Fei roared out, "I am a person who and Destiny God will never let go, do you understand?" Boom, boom, boom. Nai Lin was simply unable to resist them. The amount of blood on top of her head also decreased as she said with difficulty, "Long Fei, Destiny God will not let you go, the entire Devil Island will not let you go. This is the Forsaken God Land, the chief sovereign of all things. If you dare to go against the gods, you will be surrounded by the forces of the entire Devil Island. Long Fei, you will die 10,000 times worse than me, ha ha ha." Nai Lin laughed loudly. Long Fei would not give her another chance. "Explode for me." Chapter 1858 Enmity. Chapter 1858 Enmity. The ancient holy battlefield is good too. The divinity is good too. Even the 100,000 planes were controlled by the main temple. The small Devil Island was even more so. A place abandoned by the gods, but a place that revered the gods more than any other place. No one dared to offend God. This was because if they were to abandon this place again, the entire Devil Island would be engulfed by the demon sea and they wouldn't even have a life. Even if they were to be abandoned by a god, they wouldn't dare to have the slightest bit of resentment, and they would even become more respectful, as if they were worshipping a powerhouse. What Nai Lin said left everyone in shock. Destiny God's appearance caused their hearts to feel fear, as if the reverence in their hearts made them feel fear. Their hearts couldn't help but tremble. Long Fei, you can't kill him. We can't kill him. Long Fei, you can't kill him. Destiny God cannot be provoked. Suddenly, many of the sect elders began to shout out loud. He was even more afraid than the Hell Reaper. Nai Lin laughed complacently. She knew that it would happen, so she stared at Long Fei and said, "Come, kill me. Long Fei, do you dare? Ha ha ha. If I die, you will become the enemy of the entire Devil Island. Do you dare?" Nai Lin laughed. He smiled savagely. Long Fei raised her fire dragon knife high up in the air and said, "There is nothing in this world that I, Long Fei, do not dare to do. This daddy not only wants to kill you, but also wants to kill Destiny God." As soon as he finished, the flames on the fire dragon knife exploded. The fire dragon blade chi raged as it slashed down. Boom. Everyone looked at Long Fei with their mouths agape, their hearts sinking, as though they had fallen into a bottomless abyss. Buzz buzz buzz. Nai Lin's eyes were opened wide in anger, his eyes revealed unwillingness, and also a type of fear in the face of death. Rumble. A loud explosion resounded. The fire dragon blade chi swallowed Nai Lin and his body turned into smithereens. The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience, 100,000 holy power value, and 1 energy values. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the 9 sword beast. The system beep finished. Then, he floated the sword beast in Long Fei's mind. With a slight movement, Long Fei released the 9 sword beast S. Without any hesitation, Along smashed all 9 sword beast to pieces with a single punch. Although they had exposed Nai Lin's 9 sword beast, these things were definitely dangerous. If it was something the Destiny God had given to Nai Lin, being around was a disaster. Thus, Long Fei did not hesitate. Nai Lin did not drop anything, nor did she have any hopes that she would drop anything, but she did not. To Long Fei, she had already dropped enough things. Destiny God. Your father's been taken to the Devil Island by you, yet you still won't let your father go, right? Wait. If I don't kill you in this life, I'll ***king change my surname to yours. Long Fei said those words word by word while grinding his teeth. He did not expect the power of the Destiny God to appear once again. Zhong Wushuang became stronger. The infiltration of the Destiny God. All of these, the Destiny God simply did not plan to let Long Fei go. Long Fei being alive for the entire day was a form of humiliation to him. He would definitely not allow this kind of thing to happen a second time. Now that he knew Long Fei had become stronger, he would definitely not let Long Fei have a good life. With Nai Lin's death, the new royal battle team members quickly retreated, and in the end, only a dozen of the more than 90 disciples managed to escape. However, they ran away. All the elders of the 9 major sects stood up in unison. The spectators all stood up as well. Just a second ago, they were all excited that Long Fei could crush this crazy woman, but in that second, they all stared at him as if he was their mortal enemy. Intense hostility. Ba Wanghua walked to Long Fei's side and asked in a low voice, "Why are they looking at you like that? They should be thanking you." Long Fei's gaze turned cold and he said, "They are afraid." Fear. The Ba Wanghua did not understand. What are you afraid of? Long Fei looked into the sky and said, "They are afraid of gods." Boom. 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 Explosions rang out from the surroundings one after another. This was the eruption of one's battle prowess. Long Fei, if you kill Nai Lin, that would mean you are at war with Destiny God, and Devil Island cannot tolerate you. That's right. Long Fei, you have offended Destiny God, so Devil Island does not wish to suffer along with you. This is already the forbidden land of gods. If the main temple descends any more punishments, this tiny Devil Island will be engulfed by the Demon Sea. We don't want to die with you. Fear. He was extremely afraid. God, in their hearts, was always the person they feared the most. Let alone the Destiny God who had control over their fate, they were even more afraid. Long Fei swept his gaze across them, looked at the hostile gazes around him and laughed coldly. Without further ado, he said, All of you look down on this daddy, right? Sure. Who's not happy? Get the hell down here. I'll make him feel good. He didn't want to be long-winded. Are you in a bad mood? If you're not satisfied, come down and do it. While they were talking. Boom, boom, boom. The 12 Hell Reaper-s descended and stood beside Long Fei. The half-moon sickle in their hands was still dripping with blood and their eyes were cold as they looked around. If anyone dared to come down, they would immediately take their lives. Savage to such an extent. Long's powerful body was crushing everything. If anyone dared to touch Long Fei, he would definitely make that person regret being born into this world. Come on. It's not unhappiness. Didn't you want to kill me? Everyone, come at me. Long Fei roared and said coldly, what's the use of a group of cowards? To be exiled to this sort of place and still accept it, is there any difference between the two of you and a salted fish? They were unhappy. Long Fei felt even more unhappy. Just a mere destiny god, yet he was able to make 10 sects, who stood at the peak of the Devil Island, tremble in fear before his appearance. Long Fei was unhappy. Long Fei, there is no one in this world who can fight against gods. Even if it was in the ancient holy battlefield for the past 10,000 years, who could change that? No one. The destiny god controls the fate of 100,000 planes, and there is an even stronger god than that who is the king of 100,000 planes. He is an existence that no one can shake. You have offended the destiny god, and dragged us down with you. We will not take action today, but from now on, no one in the Devil Island will be able to tolerate you. Finished. The elder waved his sleeve and said, return to the sect. The head of the 10 sects, the Heaven Origin sect left. Many sects slowly withdrew from the Devil Hills. Long Fei did not stop them. However, he knew that after today, all the powers would be irreconcilable with him. Chapter 1859, The Devil Temple's Trial. Chapter 1859, The Devil Temple's Trial. He came and left as quickly as he came. In less than half an hour, Long Fei and a few others were the only ones left in the Devil Hills. Empty. A cold wind blew, and the surroundings were in a mess, appearing somewhat desolate. No one had expected that this year's exchange would end in such a way. Long Fei looked at Bawanghua and the others, and said, my path is very difficult. My path is to step over Main Temple and kill him. I want to change the laws of this world. We'll encounter many, many dangers. I don't want to. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the Bawanghua said, I don't care, anyway I'm your man. Marrying a chicken and dogs will always follow a dog. Wherever you go, I'll go. Whoever is your enemy will also be my enemy. Simple and crude. After saying that, the Bawanghua grabbed onto Long Fei's arm firmly, as if Long Fei could fly away at any time. Wang Tai said, I have been exiled here by my clan, I have been despised by my clan, and I want to leave this place. I know that it is impossible for me to rely on my own strength for my entire lifetime, but you can. No matter who you want to deal with, before I die, I will follow behind you. If I don't die, you won't die. It was the first time she had said so much. When others saw him, they would treat him like a monster, especially when he activated the heavy sword. But Long Fei did not change at all. LV Shuangchuan scratched his head and laughed. This is the road to becoming a deity. How can you let me get away with this kind of thing? If I were to record all of this down and become a deity successfully, I would be a witness. Heh. He did not understand so much, but he understood one thing. If he followed Long Fei, he would have meat to eat, and he would have wine to drink. There was not a single ripple in Yang Nanshan's eyes. He looked at Long Fei and asked, can you really break the Devil Island's taboo? Long Fei replied, I don't know, but I will do my best. I won't let a small Devil Island bind my flying wings. All right, I'll bet with you. Yang Nantian said calmly, before I die, I will repay you with my life. This is what I owe you. Then he fell silent. Along scratched his head and said, Master is the god of our giant clan. Desperate Man had already disappeared into thin air. He was the shadow of Long Fei. He would be wherever Long Fei was. Looking at these people, Long Fei was moved beyond words. As long as he had his brother with him, how could the entire world be his enemy? He just wasn't afraid. Huff. Long Fei did not argue, and said, "All right, since you all have made the choice to follow me, then I will not beat around the bush. I walk the path of death. From today onwards, whoever blocks us will be God, evil will be evil, I will let them all die at my feet. No one can stop my, Long Fei's, footsteps. No one." And then, Long Fei moved. Wang. Devil Temple was released from the Shu Mi rings and returned to his original position. The two old monks who were as thin as firewood and whose eyes did not have the slightest ripple were still the same as before, guarding the main gate of Devil Temple. Their eyes were empty and cold. The appearance of eternal immortality. Long Fei walked forward and said, "Senior, I need to enter the Devil Temple." An old monk looked at Long Fei and said, "You can go in, they won't be able to." Long Fei trembled slightly, and said, "I want to bring them along to Devil Temple." "No way," the two old monks said at the same time. Long Fei secretly furrowed his brows, looked at the two old monks and asked, "You two are also afraid of the Destiny God?" The old monk's empty eyes rippled. It seemed as if he was angry, but also seemed to be looking down on them. He said, "There is no one in this world that is worthy of us being afraid of. Because we are already dead. What is there to be afraid of?" The words were a little profound. Long Fei did not understand. Long Fei said, "Since they're not afraid, why not let us bring them in?" Long Fei promised them. He would do his best to do what he had promised. Yang Nantian said, "Long Fei, your talent is better than any of us. You will be more useful when you enter than any of us. Yes, Brother Fei, you can go in by yourself." LV Shuangchuan said. Ba Wang Hua said, "We went in last night, so we won't go in." They didn't want to disturb Long Fei. And even more so, did not want to make things difficult for Long Fei. The two old monks did not look like much, just like an old man who had run out of oil. However, their cultivation was unfathomably high, and it was unknown how strong he was. Once they made a move, they would be able to kill Long Fei in an instant. Long Fei said, "What if I must bring them in?" Devil Temple. An unparalleled inheritance. This was probably the only place that had changed his fate. Any warriors would like to go in the place. Ba Wang Hua and the other two did go in last night, but the place they went in was not Devil Temple. Although they said they didn't want to go in, Long Fei knew clearly in his heart that everyone wanted to go in. Moreover, this was something that Long Fei had personally promised them. The old monk looked at Long Fei coldly. Long Fei's eyes moved slightly. The 12 Hell Reaper stepped forward, and Giant Along also walked forward. Long Fei once again said, "What if I must bring them in?" This was not a discussion. This was an undisguised threat. He wanted to go in. The two old monks looked at each other, a ripple once again appeared in their eyes, as if Long Fei had passed some sort of test. Then, an old monk looked at Long Fei, and said, "You go in, as long as you can pass through the first hurdle, the entire Devil Temple will listen to your orders." Huh. Inside. Long Fei frowned. "What stage?" The old monk said slightly, "You will know once you enter." Long Fei said, "What if I don't go in?" The old monk lifted his eyes and swept his gaze across them. A drop of water appeared on his fingertip as he said, "Do you think that you and the others alone will be a match for the two of us?" As soon as he finished, the old monk's shadow suddenly shook. It was 100 times faster than lightning, so he couldn't even see clearly. A light point appeared between Long Fei's eyebrows, and it felt slightly cold. Wang Tai looked at the space between Long Fei's brows and said, "Brother Fei, your forehead." Long Fei looked at the space between Wang Tai's brows at the same time. His face was filled with shock. Not just Wang Tai, Yang Nantian, Ba Wang Hua, LV Shuangchuan, 12 Hell Reapers, even Giant Along who was high above him had a little watermark on his forehead. If the watermark was replaced with a sword, then Long Fei and the others would suddenly. They were completely annihilated. Sweeping monk. Powerful to the point of being a complete mess. Long Fei was stunned. Huff. Long Fei let out a light breath, walked forward and said, "All right, I'll go in to challenge the trial." You guys wait for me outside. If I don't come out within 3 days, that means I'm dead inside. You don't have to do anything, just leave. Finished. Long Fei walked into the Devil Temple alone. Chapter 1860, Four Bodhisattvas. Chapter 1860, Four Bodhisattvas. The sweeping monk was too strong. Long Fei thought that no matter how strong they would still not be a match for the Hell Reaper. But he was wrong. Sweeping monk was enough to sweep across 18 streets of Hell Reaper. Even if the Hell Reaper fused with the power of Giant now, it would still be the same. This also showed how powerful the things in the Devil Temple were. As a mortal, he wouldn't die even after 1,000 years. In one night's time, the cultivation of the 3 people of Bawang Hua sword, the opportunity was like a metamorphosis. Long Fei had never seen this kind of strength before. Creak. The crisp sound of a door opening could be heard. Everything inside was pitch black, and not a single thing could be seen clearly. It was as if an abyss, or a demon beast's open mouth waiting for Long Fei to drill his way in. Brother Fei. Long Fei. Bawang Hua and the others were very worried. Yesterday, when they entered, they only opened half the door. Now, they opened the door together. It was completely different from what they had seen yesterday. Long Fei did not turn back as he walked into the darkness with large strides. If they wanted to kill him, he would have died 100,000 times over. Right at the moment when Long Fei stepped into the door buzzed. Boom. A figure was sent flying. Desperate Man was pushed back dozens of steps consecutively before stopping, his face pale and blood rolling below his chest. A mouthful of blood flowed out. Just the power of a door could turn Desperate Man into an internal injury. How strong was that? The old monk slightly glanced at the Desperate Man, and calmly said, "You are also someone who has entered the Devil Temple before. You should understand that other than the people you choose, no one else can enter." Desperate Man's gaze darkened slightly. The Bawang Hua and the others were stunned. They all looked at Desperate Man. "You've been in there before? You were also a new king? Which sect are you from? How could the flying crane be with you?" It was obviously the God Rare sect's guardian crane. Where did you find it? There were too many questions that needed to be answered. However, Desperate Man did not reply. His body slightly moved, and once again disappeared into the air, completely invisible from view. Indeed, he had been in there before. Not only had he been inside, he had also been inside for half a year. However, this was just a small part of his past. His past life was much better than this. And then there was Long Fei. Long Fei walked into the Devil Temple and the door closed. Standing in the darkness, Long Fei could not feel the existence of any aura and he had to stop for a full 10 minutes. There still wasn't any change in the surroundings. Long Fei said lightly, "Since you called me in to challenge the trial, someone has to come out, right? At the very least, shouldn't you explain to me what it means to pass this challenge?" As soon as he finished. Boom. It was as if a searchlight was shining down from a searchlight. Not far in front of Long Fei, there was an old monk that looked like a statue of the Vajra Bodhisattva. His face was somewhat sinister, and his movements were strange. Vajra glared at Long Fei. Boom. Behind him, another Vajra Bodhisattva appeared. Its movements were different, and its appearance was different, but at the same time, it was glaring at Long Fei. Boom. Boom. It also appeared on the left and right sides. For Vajra Bodhisattva. Without any aura, he couldn't feel the fluctuations of power from their bodies. Devil Temple, is this really a huge temple? Long Fei mumbled. The 4 Vajra Bodhisattva were all different. It looked like it would definitely frighten a crying child. At this moment, a voice resounded in the air, and said, "Long Fei, as long as you can win against 4 Bodhisattvas, you will pass. Remember, you can't use your blasting fist. If you cannot win, you will lose the qualification to enter the Devil Temple, and your friends will also lose the qualification to enter the Devil Temple." The sound was so hollow that no one could tell where it came from. At the same time, Long Fei felt that this place was like an incomparably large space. "You know that I have blasting fist." Long Fei's heart trembled, No one other than himself could correctly say the name of the blasting fist. Who was this person? A voice came from the darkness. You don't need to know who I am. You only need to pass this test. Your mother passed it that year. 1,000 years from now, it will depend on whether you can pass or not. Will that disappoint your mother? Long Fei's heart trembled even more. Not only did he know that he had the blasting fist, even his mother knew about it. A wave of killing intent arose in his heart, and he said coldly, I don't care who you are, you know too much. Ha ha ha. Hey, what an arrogant tone. Bring it on. Let's see if you have the strength to pass the examination. A voice rang out. Long Fei said, wait first, do you have any rewards for winning? A voice from the darkness asked, what do you want? Long Fei glanced at 4 bodhisattvas and asked, what are the names of these 4 bodhisattvas? They should look pretty good. The voice in the darkness said, you want them? Long Fei said, is that possible? The voice from the darkness said, yes, as long as you can defeat them, you will become the master of the Devil Temple. You will take over everything here, including the 4 of them, become the master of this place. Long Fei smiled slightly, and said, seems like my mother has given this place to me as well. The voice in the darkness disappeared. He was slightly taken aback, because Long Fei was much smarter than he had imagined. And then, a surge of energy surged through the darkness. Begin. As soon as he finished, 4 bodhisattvas' body slightly moved. The 2 lines crossed, and the intersection point was Long Fei's body. It was like a 4 symbols formation. Long Fei's hands sank as the devil's sword and fire dragon knife landed in his hands, and directly clashed against them. Boom. Boom. With 2 explosive sounds, the demon sword fell. The fire dragon blade fell. Long Fei's body exploded as he retreated, a mouthful of blood spraying out, his expression extremely ugly, and in an instant he was sent flying. He was just too powerful. He was defeated in 1 move. You can continue to challenge him. His voice rang out, it seems that your strength is not as strong as your mouth. Again, Long Fei slammed the ground heavily, and rushed forward with a single step. Boom. He was once again sent flying. You've lost again. Again, Long Fei bellowed, and rushed forward again without caring about his life. Boom. He was sent flying once again. Seems like you are unable to pass the exam, you are also unable to inherit your mother's will, and you are also unable to inherit the things she left for you. Long Fei stood up from the ground, wiping away the blood from his mouth, and said, what are you so anxious for? I'm not dead yet, isn't it a never-ending challenge? I didn't lose before killing me. Again, I don't believe this. Long Fei just did not submit. Chapter 1861 Successor Assessment. Chapter 1861 Successor Assessment again. Again. Keep going. Long Fei did not give up after 1 challenge and 1 failure after another. This was an endless challenge. Even if he lost, it would be just as he said. As long as his life was still on the line, he wouldn't lose. Moreover, Long Fei's dictionary did not contain the word loss. Boom. Long Fei was once again sent flying. No one knew how many times he had already climbed up from the ground with much difficulty. The 4 of them are like 1 person. Spiritual communication, coordinated to a flawless realm. Long Fei was shocked in his heart. Seems like if you want to defeat them, you cannot use common sense. All right. I'll give it a try. Long Fei continued to issue challenges. This time his movements were extremely strange. But 10 seconds later. Boom. Long Fei was once again sent flying, still not enough. If they failed yet again, the 4 great Vajra Bodhisattva would not give Long Fei any chance at all. They were as if they were invincible, and no matter what moves Long Fei used, they would all have a way to break it. However, Long Fei did not want to use the blasting fist. This was because as long as he could defeat the 4 bodhisattvas, he would be able to obtain it. Can't destroy them? Huff, huff. Long Fei panted slightly as he stared at the 4 bodhisattvas between his brows. There must be a way to deal with them, there definitely is. A voice came from the darkness. What? Are you admitting defeat? You're so annoying. Long Fei shouted, as long as I'm still alive, I won't admit defeat. Ha ha ha. What's the use of a tough mouth? How could a brute like you win against them? The dark voice said. Long Fei ignored him. He summed up every challenge, but he really could not find any loopholes in the 4 bodhisattvas, nor was he able to find any way to defeat them. Again, Long Fei swallowed a pill, lowered his fists and immediately rushed forward. Buzz! A Vajra bodhisattva charged forward. As soon as he moved, he gathered his strength. His actions were a little like a tortoise's chi art, and he immediately sent a palm strike towards Long Fei. Boom! As their strengths collided, Long Fei's strength was instantly crushed and he was sent flying once again. Long Fei yelled in midair, "Damn, what's going on? Ha ha ha. He's not an opponent, is he? Brat, you should surrender as soon as possible." The voice came again from the darkness. "Lose your ass, you're so annoying. If you have the guts, come out. Your elder will explode you first." Long Fei said fiercely, as his brain summed up once again. 1 bodhisattva movement, the other 3 bodhisattvas remain motionless. If the 4 bodhisattvas attack together, they won't attack immediately. They are puppets. Or should I say, that dark voice is controlling them? Also, the cultivation technique they released is very strange. It is completely unlike the cultivation technique in Devil Island. Long Fei's heart was filled with questions. Again, Long Fei rushed forward again. It's been a month, and Brother Fei still hasn't come out. Could it be? LV Shuangchuan asked worriedly. No way. I want to go in and find Long Fei. Bawang Hua stood up from the ground and walked towards the entrance of Devil Temple. He was stopped by the old monk before he could even enter the entrance. The old monk said slightly, "You are not allowed to enter." Bawang Hua said, "Senior, I beg of you, please let me in. It has already been a month, I do not believe that the exam will take a month. Tell me, how is he now?" Long Fei told them about the time of 3 days. But it had already been a month and Long Fei still hadn't come out. She believed that Long Fei would definitely not lie to them. The old monk shook his head and said, "I'm the same as you guys. I don't know how he's doing, but no matter who it is, they can't go in." "No, I want to go in." Bawang Hua was very worried about Long Fei's consolation. For the past few days, she only thought of Long Fei. Something was going to happen to Long Fei. She swore to burn this devil temple. The old monk looked at Bawang Hua and said, "I advise you not to be reckless." Bawang Hua clenched his fists tightly, looked at the old monk and said, "I know I'm not your opponent, but no matter what, I still want to give it a try." Suddenly, the moment the heavy sword on Wang Tai's back fell, brown-colored bones extended outward from his body, and the aura on his body became different. Yang Nantian also stood up. The 4 of them walked forward. The old monk looked at the 4 of them, his gaze calm. He said, "Even if we let you in, you wouldn't be able to find him. Also, the gate of the Devil Temple will not open up to you, because Long Fei is still not the master of the Devil Temple." The old monk hesitated for a moment before speaking. Bawang Hua was slightly taken aback. Long Fei wants to become the master of the Devil Temple? This, what is this assessment? The old monk said, "The successor test." Yang Nantian was shocked. He is the successor to the Devil Temple? Why? Who exactly is Long Fei? Confusion. Devil Temple had existed for more than 1,000 years in the Devil Hills, but no one knew when it had appeared here or where it had come from. Flying Goddess shocked the world 1,000 years ago. From that year onwards, every single year, 10 sex exchange would be held in this place. Every single new king would receive a huge upgrade upon entering the Devil Temple, and this place was also known as the Devil Island's sacred ground. As for its source, no one knew about it, just like 1,000 years ago. But now there was a successor. Long Fei. Everyone was shocked. The old monk shook his head and said, "Don't say it, don't say it." Bawang Hua asked, "Will Long Fei be in danger?" The old monk continued, "You can't say it, you can't say it." Wang Tai asked, "When will he be able to come out?" The old monk said, "You still can't say." All of your questions can only be answered by Long Fei. This humble monk can't answer anything at all. Now that the Devil Island is in chaos, you all should go cultivate. The day that Long Fei comes out of seclusion is the day that you too will know everything. The old monk slowly spoke, then his eyes became empty again. The two of them were like two dried corpses, guarding the temple. Ba Wang Hua looked at the gigantic temple standing amidst the clouds, his fists slightly relaxed. Yang Nantian said, "Let's go. Long Fei is definitely alive, he can definitely inherit everything in the Devil Temple. What we need to do now is to raise our cultivation, otherwise. How do I follow him down?" Wang Tai returned the heavy sword to his back, then turned and walked down the mountain. LV Shuangchuan followed him. Yang Nantian glanced at the Devil Temple and strode off. The last of the Ba Wang Hua muttered, "Long Fei, we will be waiting for your return. I will wait for you forever." Chapter 1862 Return of the Four Holy Monks. Chapter 1862 Return of the Four Holy Monks. Long Fei was about to go crazy. No matter what you do, no matter how you try, no, 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 no. Failure, failure, failure. His mind was about to collapse. Moreover, the most important thing was that his holy power value had all been used up. He had even killed all of the Shu Mi rings S, and he had also refined all of the spirit grass S that could be used to refine pellets. Over 10,000 divine spirit pills had been used up. His holy power value had been exhausted and had become zero. Right now, he was truly at the end of his rope. Without holy power value, he wouldn't even be able to unleash his cultivation technique. Let alone being unable to use the blasting fist. Even if he could, he wouldn't be able to use it right now. Ha ha ha. Did you run out of divine power? You don't have a chance now, do you? Kid, admit defeat. The voice in the darkness laughed again. Long Fei roared angrily, and said, "You're so F*** king annoying, you want me to admit defeat? No way. If you have the guts, then kill me. Otherwise, I will never admit defeat." He was still thinking about the Ba Wang Hua and the others. As long as he could clear it, and defeat the four bodhisattvas, he would be able to bring them in to cultivate. This place would become an important cultivation base for him, and would be the best place to cultivate his strength. Give up. Impossible. Ha ha ha. Kid, you don't even have divine power right now, how can you fight back? He said this with a smile in the darkness. Long Fei said, "Can't we fight without divine power? Without divine power, are they just waiting to die? A strategy without divine power." While they were talking, Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and rushed forward again. He thought to himself, "Let's go all out, I do not believe." He had thought of countless strategies and all of them had failed. It was as if the four bodhisattvas could clearly understand everything that was on his mind and break all of them. Long Fei simply could not do anything. And four bodhisattvas would not seriously injure Long Fei either. Every time he was hit flying, it was like boiling a frog in warm water. Who knew how much time had passed? Long Fei also forgot about the loss of time. In this darkness, there was no concept of time. There was only one thing on his mind, to defeat the four bodhisattvas. Boom. Long Fei was sent flying. This time he crawled up from the ground faster than he could ever get. He instantly charged back, his fist smashing down. Clang. A punch landed on a bodhisattva's body. There was the sound of a jar shattering. A lot of dirt fell from the bodhisattva that was hit, revealing a bright light. Ha! It hit. The first hit in a long time. Ha ha ha. Long Fei was excited. How many times had he failed? How many times had he been sent flying? This was the first time he had ever hit a bodhisattva. At the same time, Long Fei was sent flying. This time, he climbed back up even faster, his reaction speed faster than ever. Boom. Just a little more. He missed this time, but just a little more. Long Fei roared out, continue. Boom. Like a madman, like a madman. Long Fei was completely like a crazy madman now. His white hair was in a mess and his clothes were tattered. He rolled on the ground from time to time, and from time to time, he started to laugh maniacally. He was completely a madman. Boom, boom, boom. Without the support of the god power, he used his fleshly body to carry them, and used his pure power of his cultivation base to attack them. Without caring about anything else, he kept on attacking them with a fearless heart. Time flowed on. Long Fei didn't know how much time had passed. However, he knew that the mud on the 4 bodhisattvas was becoming lesser and lesser, and they revealed their real faces' appearance. The golden sand wrapped around his body. Long eyebrows drooping from the waist. It was an ethereal skeleton with an aura that Long Fei had never seen before. The feeling he got was very strong, the kind that was strong to the point of exploding. The sweeping monk of the Devil Temple is strong, right? However, compared to these 4 Vajra Bodhisattva, it was nothing. It was just a feeling, and Long Fei felt that any one of them could easily kill him with a flick of a finger. But why didn't such a powerhouse use his full strength? Long Fei couldn't understand. He didn't want to think too much about it right now. Now he was going to break the last piece of mud on them. This mud was like seal. As long as there was mud on their body, it would be suppressed. Boom. Long Fei's entire body was bruised, and was in extreme pain, but no matter what, he would just use his full strength. With another punch, the last piece of mud on a bodhisattva was shattered. Buzz. A golden light shot into the sky. The bodhisattva suddenly stopped moving, maintaining a strange posture. A voice resounded in the air, "The Tian Shu has returned." Buzz. The Buddhist sound of the bell rang out, shaking everyone's heart. Behind the bodhisattva, there was a burst of Buddhist light, which was extremely strong, so strong that even Long Fei was dumbstruck by it. Tian Shu Bodhisattva? When he was truly in a daze, he was once again sent flying. Long Fei rolled on the ground. After choosing 360 degrees, he climbed up again and once again broke through the mud on another bodhisattva. Buzz. Another set of Buddhist bells rang out. Heaven's End, return. The bodhisattva stood motionless on the spot, as if it had cast or immobilized technique. Heaven's End? Long Fei looked at the other 2 bodhisattvas, and asked, "What are you two?" Boom, boom. The last 2 bodhisattvas had basically not gone to defend themselves and were directly struck by Long Fei. Furthermore, as the mud dwindled from their bodies, they slowed down. Buzz, buzz. 2 loud sounds rang out as golden light burst out from their bodies. Tian Yuan, return. Heaven's Rush, return. The 4 bodhisattvas were all motionless. Tian Shu, Heaven's End, Heaven Origin, Heaven Rush? 4 bodhisattvas? I've never heard of this. Could this be the Buddhist bodhisattva of this world? Long Fei muttered in his heart. He didn't know many bodhisattva names, but he was certain that there was no bodhisattva with that name when Lord Tathagata sat down. However, right now, he couldn't be bothered to care about all that. Instead, he faced the darkness and shouted, "Old bastard, I've won. Ha ha ha." A loud laughter rang out from the darkness. The laughter contained an excitement even greater than Long Fei's own, and he said, "Not bad, you've won. You win. You won, ha ha ha." He was very excited. This slightly confused Long Fei, and said, "I've passed the examination, now can you keep your promise?" "Of course. I will definitely do what I promised you. Long Fei, from now on, you will be the master of the Devil Temple. You will control everything here. There are 100,000 legacies here, and every single one of them came from difficulty. I hope that you can properly comprehend them and cultivate them. This can be said to be equivalent to your mother's painstaking efforts." His voice became somewhat sorrowful. Long Fei also recognized it and asked, "Who exactly are you?" The voice in the darkness hesitated. In the end, he still didn't say it out loud. However, in his heart, he thought, "Child, I'm your grandfather." Chapter 1863 Long Fei Admission to the World. Chapter 1863 Long Fei Admission to the World Comprehension? Cultivation? 100,000 legacy. Such a waste of a brain. Long Fei felt his hair go numb just thinking about it. In his previous life, the thing he hated the most was studying. If they wanted him to cultivate 100,000 legacy, then they might as well send him to his death. I am now the successor of the Devil Temple, so can I call them in to train now? No, not at all. Long Fei asked. There was no sound in the darkness. Long Fei asked again, Senior? Are you still there? After a long time. In the darkness, the person who spoke seemed to be deep in thought. Half an hour later, he finally replied, You are now the successor to the Devil Temple. You can control everything here. Child, you must work hard. You must continue maintaining that fearless heart. Your mother is still waiting for you. At this point, the voice stopped. Moreover, these voices suddenly became kind. Long Fei could feel the deep concern and worry in these words, making his heart warm up. Long Fei immediately asked, Senior, who are you? Why do you know who I am? Why do you know my mother? What did you say my mother was waiting for me to do? Where is my mother now? There was no answer. The voice from the darkness gradually became softer. Child, you will know in the future. Do your best to change this world. When you stand at the peak of this world, you might know. The sound gradually disappeared. In the end, all that was left was the empty darkness. Also, when the voice disappeared in the darkness, Tian Shu, Tian Ju, Tian Yuan, and Tian Chong, 4 bodhisattvas, stood behind Long Fei. 4 holy monks. Long Fei looked at them and asked, Do you guys know? The 4 of them did not speak. Their mouths were open as if they had never opened before. Buzz. A buzzing sound came from the darkness. Long Fei's body suddenly shook. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for becoming the successor of the Devil Temple. The reward is 1+1 special. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level 7 purple star. Ding. System notification. Do you wish to cultivate the power of 100,000 legacies within the Devil Temple? Cultivation or not? It was clear that this Devil Temple was left to him by his mother. 100,000 legacies could represent 100,000 different types of power. Different types of power, these different types of power, these different types of powers, these different types of powers, could all represent 100,000 different types of power. However, Long Fei did not immediately accept cultivation. I'll go out first. After all, I promised them. Long Fei was a person who kept his promises. He would do his best to fulfill what he had promised. And then, the idea moved. Open the door. The big door of the Devil Temple opened right in front of Long Fei. The strong light shone in. Long Fei took a deep breath, then looked at the 4 holy monks behind him, and said, You guys stay here and cultivate by yourselves. 4 holy monks did not answer and just stood there. Long Fei walked out in large strides. Little flower, I'm coming out. Now you can come in with me. Long Fei ran out eagerly, and in the instant he walked out, he stared blankly. Everything outside became desolate. The exchange venue was filled with weeds, as if no one had cleaned it up in the past few years. The splendor of the past was no longer there. In its place was desolation. The moment the 2 old monks saw the door open, their empty eyes shined with a bright light, as if they were dried wood in spring. At that moment, their bodies trembled slightly as they looked at Long Fei, who was standing at the entrance. The body that they had not moved for many years suddenly bent and bowed to Long Fei. Welcome, King. The new master of the Devil Temple. Long Fei was a little shocked, and said, It became like this. Where are they? An old monk said slightly, Gone. Long Fei asked again, How long have I been inside? The old monk replied, 3 years and 7 days. 3 years. Long Fei's heart trembled. He basically could not feel the passage of time inside, and even if he had stayed inside for a very long time, he never would have thought that he would stay inside for 3 years. His entire person was in a bad mood. Time was very important to him. If he stayed in one place for 3 years, then wouldn't the outside world change drastically? Long Fei's heart secretly tensed up, and asked, How is the outside world? The old monk saw that the exchange was in a state of desolation and said, "It's just like here. 3 years ago, you killed Fate Envoy Nylin. 3 years' time. The change was too fast. You can't even imagine." Moreover, Long Fei's disappearance had a huge impact on this world. The change in dynasties of 10 sects, the change in 10 cities, everything was different now. But there was one thing. The destiny God controls the entire situation. Still, no one dared to go against God. Compared to the past, there were many more temples with believers in the destiny God. Long Fei stood at the edge of the cliff, looking into the distance. "It's been 3 years, little flower, how are you guys?" At this moment, Desperate Man's figure quietly flashed and appeared behind Long Fei, saying faintly, "It's time to enter society." In these 3 years, Desperate Man had never left. His duty was to protect Long Fei, and to stay close to him. From the moment Long Fei entered, he knew that Long Fei would definitely come out, and he had waited here for 3 years. LV Shuangchuan, and even Yang Nantian had returned several times. They were also waiting for Long Fei's return. But they didn't even arrive. Caw! With a sharp cry, a gigantic red-crowned crane dropped from the sky and floated beside Long Fei. Flying crane. Long Fei glanced at the desperate man behind him, and said with a slight smile, "You're right." And then, Long Fei took out the Shu Mi Rings S. The Devil Temple was already desolate. Long Fei wanted to take him away. There were 100,000 different inheritances. If he did not cultivate, then he would need 100,000 people to learn them. Devil Temple sucked in the Shu Mi Rings. Long Fei stepped onto the flying crane, moved slightly, and said, "Return to God Rare Sect first." The flying crane spread its wings and penetrated into the clouds almost instantaneously, disappearing without a trace. "Jinwu, you only have 3 days. Either you agree to submit to Destiny Sect, or don't blame Destiny Sect for being impolite." God Rare Sect Great Hall. An old man stood there. The old man was the messenger of the Destiny Sect. As for the Destiny Sect, it was the combination of the strongest sect in Devil Island, the 9 major sects. In 3 years, the establishment of the Destiny Sect had risen rapidly. It had already dominated the entire Devil Island, an existence that no one could shake. They represented the Destiny God. Chapter 1864, Who Come, Who Die. Chapter 1864, Who Come, Who Die. Deadwood withered, weeds were piled up. The current God Rare Sect was like an old man in his final years, devoid of any signs of life, and likely about to collapse at any moment. As Long Fei went up against Destiny God, making him the enemy of the entire Devil Island, God Rare Sect was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. Even though the Gold Robe Master had always publicized to the outside that Long Fei was not God Rare Sect's disciple, but many of the people who feared the Destiny God did not let go. In these 3 years, the God Rare Sect did not accept a single disciple. Not only that, but the sect disciples were also in a mess. They all left in a scattered manner, as if they were monkeys falling from a tree. However, there was always someone who insisted. For example, the Gold Robe Master, or the heavily punished Zhong Sanqian. They were still persisting. They had always been guarding the God Rare Sect. But this time, they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to hold on even if they died. Ancestor, with the 3-day deadline, the group from Destiny Sect will probably attack the God Rare Sect. Zhong Sanqian said lightly. He had been severely punished by the Golden Robe, but he did not hold a grudge. Just like how he was nearly killed by Luo Wanhong that year, Zhong Sanqian did not hold back his hatred. He centered around the God Rare Sect. Gold Robe Master frowned, his hands tightly held onto the dragon head handle on the chair. He said, "If he dares to come, I dare to fight. God Rare Sect is not that easy to bully." Another clan elder said slightly, "Ancestor, based on the elderly, weak, and handicapped of our God Rare Sect, I'm afraid." He did not continue. Destiny Sect would come over from time to encircle and annihilate them, and those who remained were disciples who were still injured. Once news of the 3-day deadline spread out, there would be more disciples who would leave. wanting to contend with the incomparably powerful Destiny sect. Something that was basically impossible. Zhong Sanqian knew in his heart, as did the golden-robed elder. Gold Robe Master looked at Zhong Sanqian and said with a hint of reproach, "It's all because of your indulgence, otherwise, how could a mere nominal disciple cause such a storm?" In his heart, he hated Long Fei. It was not only because Long Fei killed the 10 disciples that he had personally trained, but also because Long Fei dragged the God Rare sect into the bottomless abyss. Zhong Sanqian said slightly, "Ancestor, even though all of this is because of Long Fei, don't you think that Long Fei will change this world? If he hasn't come out of the Devil Temple in 3 years, does that mean that the inheritance power he received was even stronger than the flying goddesses back then? Who knows, maybe this time, he will bring honor and glory to the God Rare sect." Zhong Sanqian did not give up on Long Fei, or should we say, the reason why God Rare sect persevered was because he was waiting for Long Fei's return. The flying goddess stayed in the Devil Temple for 1 year, giving birth to the number 1 person in the Devil Island who would be able to break through the taboo. Long Fei stayed for 3 years. The inheritance he had obtained would definitely be even more ferocious. The Gold Robe Master breathed out and said, "I don't care what kind of powerful inheritance he obtained, in short, the God Rare sect cannot let him live." Zhong Sanqian's brows tightened and said, "Ancestor." Gold Robe Master said, "Isn't it enough for him to harm God Rare sect? As the sect master, you actually believe in a disciple in name, betting the fate of the God Rare sect on him? Zhong Sanqian, you really dare to gamble." Zhong Sanqian lowered his head in silence. Indeed. The bet was too big. The Gold Robe Master snorted coldly, "All elders, listen up. After the 3000 period is over, the Destiny sect will definitely start a war against us. Our God Rare sect is never afraid of anyone, and if anyone dares to attack us, we will let them have a taste of our God Rare sect's might. All of you, go down and prepare." "Yes, sir." Everyone withdrew. The golden-robed man looked at the portrait of the flying goddess in the hall and said softly, "Seems like the God Rare sect is about to be destroyed in my generation. Lord Goddess, I am useless." While they were talking, Gold Robe Masters, I started to water up. A mere God Rare sect who has stubbornly resisted for so many years, what 3 days are you going to give him? If I were to say it, I would have directly taken him by surprise. Exactly. Does the current God Rare sect think that it was when the flying goddess was still alive? They are now fish on the chopping block. How long can they last? At the foot of the mountain, the Destiny sect's army gathered. Many experts from various sects were gathered here. They were waiting for the 3 days to end. After 3 days, they would lead their army to attack, and by then, the God Rare sect would definitely become a river of blood. An old man stroked his white beard and said, "God Rare sect, this sect that used to stand at the summit of Devil Island, during the time of Flying Goddess, they had the ability to eliminate all of the sect's forces, but they did not do so. Furthermore, Flying Goddess possesses a kind heart, which helped us to break through our shackles and develop all kinds of suitable cultivation techniques. Even though 1,000 years have passed, we should still give God Rare sect some time out of respect. Furthermore, God Rare sect is not as weak as you think. No one can break the God Rare sect's flying heaven formation. The flying crane that appeared in the Devil Hills is the number 1 war beast of the Devil Island. If we want to take down the God Rare sect, we cannot let our guard. Only the older generation knew a little about this. Regarding the younger generation, even if they knew, they wouldn't care. Who would care about the powerhouse from 1,000 years ago? Elder, don't worry, I will use my life to bet that we won't be able to open the flying heaven formation. It could be seen that it had long given up on the God Rare sect. Even if the flying crane really was still there, what power did the God Rare sect have after becoming a beast that had lived for 1,000 years? When that time comes, I will roast that flying crane, ha ha ha. A young elder laughed out loud. The many young elders began to laugh as well. Ha ha ha. You're right. Bake it. What kind of bullshit flying crane is that, directly turning it into a soaring crane? God Rare sect was preparing. The great army of the Destiny sect was also continuously infiltrating. Face death. Facing the army of gods. Many people were scared, and also incomparably fearful. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The army of destiny was pressing down on the land. The black mass crushed towards the heavens awakening mountain. Patriarch, something bad happened. Elder Chen's rebellion, sky-flying divine formation. It has been destroyed by him, and is currently unable to activate. Without the protection of the flying heaven array, they will be able to reach the main hall in less than half an hour. An elder rushed into the hall in a flustered manner. Gold Robe Master suddenly stood up, his fists clenched tightly into a pit, causing the air in the hall to explode, and a silent explosion sounded out, "You dog." The flying heaven formation was their last line of protection. As long as it was not destroyed, the people from the Destiny sect would have no way of dealing with them. But now, the muscles at the corner of Gold Robe Master's eyes twitched, he was boiling with anger, and his killing intent surged. And then, he opened his right hand and made a grasping motion in the air, causing a 3-meter-long long-handled falchion to appear in his hand, its entire body glowing with a golden light. With a shake of his long blade, Gold Robe Master flew out, "Whoever comes will die." Chapter 1865, Savage Like This. Chapter 1865, Savage Like This. Wearing a golden robe, his muscles bulged. The golden light around his body was like burning flames. His aura was incomparably savage. Furthermore, he had a golden blade by his side. At first glance, he looked like the white-bearded man from One Piece. In terms of aura, he was even more powerful than the white-bearded man. A golden blade. Dressed in a golden robe. Standing at the entrance of the Great Hall and looking down on everything else, this type of imposing aura was extremely powerful. Zhong Sanqian followed closely behind, and quickly rushed out. Some of the elders in the hall stopped moving, some of them hesitated, and less than a third of the elders who followed the Gold Robe Master out. Obviously, those elders who didn't come out were all afraid of death. Who in this world wasn't afraid of death? It's all's fault. It is all because of him that caused God Rare sect to become like this. Offended who? Don't tell me he doesn't know that the Devil Island is the forsaken godland. Damn thing. The soaring sky great formation is destroyed, who can resist the Destiny sect's army? Why did he still go out? Died. I won't go anyway. I'm not going either. Those who go are idiots. At this moment, no one cared about who they were, as they cared about their own lives. Gold Robe Master stood at the entrance of the Great Hall, his expression did not change at all, but his heart was faintly aching because there were less than a third of the elders standing behind him. In other words, many people were shocked by the Destiny sect and some even bought it. Sigh. The Gold Robe Master let out a long sigh, and muttered to himself, "Mistress, it was I who did not teach them well, it was the warm bed provided by the God Rare sect that allowed them to feel safe and content, they simply did not have the will to pass on to the God Rare sect. However, don't worry. The will of the God Rare sect will never disappear. We will pay any price to defend it." Gold Robe Master's heart trembled. Zhong Sanqian, who was standing beside him, could clearly feel the powerful impact, and was overwhelmed with shock in his heart. Kill, 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 boom, boom. The sound of battle shook the skies. It was an unstoppable force, the Destiny sect's army was unstoppable, there was no obstruction at all. Originally it took half an hour, but now it took less than 10 minutes to rush out of the hall. Ha ha ha. This is the God Rare sect's main hall. Not much. There's no comparison at all with the Great Hall of our Destiny sect. The great army entered the plaza. A young clan elder walked up and stared at Gold Robe Master who was standing at the entrance of the hall and sneered, "Hey, old fellow, are you the gold-robed old man? Either you kneel down and call me dad, or Lousy beats you until all your teeth fall out." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The crowd burst into laughter. However, the laughter suddenly stopped. Gold Robe Master moved, a gold light flashed and he slashed out with his golden blade. The blade chi struck down like lightning. The young elder's body was cut into 2 halves, his eyes were glowered, and his mouth could no longer utter a single word. And after doing all of this, it was as if the gold robe master hadn't moved at all. Crack! His body exploded, and blood spurted out onto the ground. Everyone was shocked. Being suppressed by the gold robe master's powerful aura, they could not help but take half a step back. A cultivation at the 5th level of Purple Star was instantly killed. The cultivation of the gold robe master was shockingly high. The young clan elders were horrified, their eyes gloomy as they stared at gold robe master. An old man walked up and lightly said, "Brother Jinwoo, please forgive this young man's insensible behavior." Gold robe master's voice was like a loud bell. "I won't forgive you, but if anyone dares to take a step up the stairs, that person will die." The sound spread out. It was with incredible pressure that it exploded out into the minds of everyone present. Just like that. Whoever came would die. The Destiny sect laughed faintly. "Brother Goldcloak, why are you doing this? God Rare sect has already become like this. Do you want to see blood flowing like rivers? Surrender, and join our Destiny sect. We can let bygones be bygones, and let the 10 sects become one. Isn't that what the Flying Goddess hoped for back then?" Gold Robe Master said, "Lord Goddess does indeed wish for us to become one, but she didn't say that she was under some dog's hit god. Our Devil Island is the forsaken god continent, and our greatest enemies are the arrogant gods of the main temple. But what about you? Those gods slapped your right face, and even made you stretch your left face out. You all want to continue living with your last breaths, but we, the God Rare sect, do not." The golden-robed elder was extremely disdainful. He didn't believe in God, he didn't believe in fate, he only believed in himself. Right now, he was unable to charge out of the Devil Island. If he could break out of the confinement, he would definitely rush to the ancient holy battlefield to kill him. The old man smiled bitterly and said, "I know you don't believe in fate, you don't believe in the gods. But look what you have left. If Flying Goddess broke out of her imprisonment and became the #1 person in Devil Island, then where was she now? I am afraid that he would also be suppressed by the main temple's gods. If she can't change anything, what can you change?" At this moment, a young disciple sneered, and said, "I say, Flying Goddess might even be played by main temple's divine wheel. I heard that Flying Goddess was ancient holy battlefield's #1 beauty back then." The Destiny sect elder snorted, "Shut up." However, his voice was not finished. The figure of the gold robe master descended once again as the golden blade slashed down. Boom! A head flew into the air and blood sprayed out. Gold robe master coldly replied, "You trash aren't even worthy of mentioning the goddess name. If you dare to let me hear you insult the goddess, I will make him regret coming to this world." Savage. Extremely savage. He did not allow anyone to sully the reputation of the Flying Goddess. Because the Flying Goddess was the highest belief of the entire God Rare sect. It was also the belief of his gold robe master. Another young elder had been killed, and some of the other young elders were very unhappy. "Humph. Old thing, you don't care about giving me face, right? You really think that we're afraid of you? Flying Goddess is a bitch, what about it? So what if I'm scolding? What's wrong? You want to kill me? You old thing, come if you dare." Many people were unhappy. They were an army of the Destiny sect and they represented the Destiny God. They would not be afraid of the powerhouse 1,000 years ago and they would only know who controlled the world now. Main Temple. As long as they could get the main temple's favor, maybe the seal on the Devil Island would be broken. They can all get out of here. Gold Robe Master's eyes became tight, he stared straight at the people who spoke, "All of you will die. Old thing, do you have the guts to come? Your elder is standing right here. If you don't come, then you're my grandson, come on." At this moment, Gold Robe Master's figure disappeared. The man who spoke coldly, "Old man, you've been tricked. Get ready. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.